Good morning. It's a beautiful Friday here in the Western Australia. Margaret River Pro continues. And as you can see, the world's best are gearing up to hit main break. Griffin Colapinto, the world number one. Imai Kalani DeVault has been fighting to keep his place on the championship tour and doing extremely well. The Puppo brothers, Samuel and Miguel, will serve together in the second heat of the day. Ramsey Buayam on a mission to stay on this championship tour. And there is John Florence, who's just dominated this break so beautifully over the years. And he's going to be coming out against Gabriel Medina in the first heat of the day. Cannot wait for that. So good to be back here in the West. Stop number 5, Ronnie Blakey alongside Richie Lovett. And Rich, wow, this event just brings so much. It brings heartache. It brings absolute ecstasy and joy to these competitors, and we saw some huge moments yesterday.
Yeah, we did. We got through a couple of grindy heats. The surf turned up, but today it's looking magic, and this first matchup is a gargantuan affair with two of the sport's heavyweights. Can't wait for this thing to click into gear, but it's going to be a massive day. Sun's shining again and the waves have turned up.
Of course, a lot of people just fighting so hard to stay on this championship tour as well.
Yeah, it's a cutthroat day. It's going to be a big day of results. We're going to be sending some people back to the Challenger Series, and then we're going to get a sigh of relief from some crew that are just going to make it for the rest of the year. So, big day ahead. Thanks for joining us. Get a cup of tea, a cup of coffee ready. Let's go.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. We saw John Florence putting his jersey on, so I think we can expect some heats to get underway here. But let's find out what's really coming our way with Stace.
Thanks, Ron. Jesse, Gabriel and John already in the lineup. A couple of fun waves coming through. What are we doing for the rest of the day?
So obviously we've got the guys in the lineup here, and we're going to be on with this whole round of 16. We're hoping to get through the round. We know that the wind is meant to come up a bit, but, pleasantly surprised this morning, actually. We knew that there would be a bit of swell this morning, probably not as much more than we thought there would be, So I think it's going to be a nice round, and it's been really good so far, which is why we've kind of gone for that earlier start. So hoping to get the whole round on and we'll have everything else on hold as well, just to be sure. It's definitely a really tricky forecast that we're looking at, and we're still looking at Sunday for a finals day, but we know that we have a little bit of work to get there. So we're happy to have this in the water and hoping these guys put on a show.
Do you see enough waves this morning to run overlapping heats, or are we just going to go regular format today?
We're going to go regular format. It's 35 minutes, particularly as well. We know this is a really important round for a couple of people. Every round's always important, especially at this part of the time of the season, but, definitely not going to push it for overlapping today. Depending on how we get going into how much we get done today and then going into Sunday, there's that lever that we can start looking at and working out how to be able to finish on the Sunday. But today we're going for just those regular 35-minute heats.
Thanks, Jesse. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Stace. Let's get this day going. This is a huge heat, Rich. You mentioned it. John Florence, 2 world titles. Gabriel Medina, 3 titles. But I feel like at different stages for, different reasons, we've been robbed of watching these two really go at it in their hunt to get themselves into that final 5. So we're in for a treat today. This is a venue where John's been so dominant, where he's dropped excellent numbers, more excellent numbers than just about anyone. But in his absence, Medina kind of came on and showed us that he can win anywhere on this schedule.
Yep. It's a really great matchup, this one. Obviously, we've got Goofy versus Natural. John over the past couple of seasons has really been the man to beat out here. And Gabriel, he hasn't had a good love affair with Margaret River. He's had to figure it out. He's admitted that he's had trouble with this wave, but he eventually grinded it, got to the win. Figured out how to win out here. But, John, he's a 2-time Margaret River Pro champion. And that forehand carve is that power hack that he goes to, and it's measured against everyone else in the field.
Tell me about those performances, those winning performances from John, and just what they did to performance surfing in big conditions.
Yeah, well, he really did, force the benchmark of radical power surfing to a level that we hadn't seen before. It was a culmination of obviously the incredible talent of John Florence, but he also had this equipment, change, a development with John Pizel. They came up with this special model called the Ghost that was just tailor-made for John's style of surfing, where he could cut a line on this this wave, explore parts of the wave on different angles with this power output that we've never seen before. It was a radical power surfing that forever changed the game.
Yeah, it was huge too. And obviously, you know, John's chances, I think, improve here at main break in bigger conditions. But his heat score averages are ridiculous. They're so high at this venue. So that kind of tells you that it doesn't really matter what the conditions are doing. John's still able to achieve excellence in his numbers out here.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. Well, he's had to grind this one out at this event. It hasn't been as straightforward. Normally John just breezes through his heats all the way to the final series. Looks like we've got a paddle on here. Looks like Gabrielle's going to start the day off.
Medina's going to kick things off here on Friday morning. Stop number 5 and blitzes the first section. Up into the pocket again. Nice combination here from the 3-time world champion to get us started. John Florence not competing too hard for that inside position. Plenty of time on the clock, 35-minute heats. No overlapping format today. Just, you heard Jesse Molly-Dyer say it earlier on, there is a lot on the line in many of these heats, and you want to give these surfers plenty of time to chase down the opportunities on offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Just thinking about the competitive strategy of these two as we watch the replay. Gabrielle had the inside track, strong offshore wind, clean bottom turn up to a nice snap, and then that closeout re-entry just performed eloquently. John.
Here goes Florence, trademark stuff, as he just rips through the bowl and just brings that tail around. Can't complete the ride though. It's a thing of beauty though, Rich, that big frontside hack. But the approach to the pocket of the wave, just to place that turn so critically, is what scores so well.
It really does. The tail on these boards is so narrow, and he's able to really cut and get a lot of bite at any part of the turn. Nice and low here. And just goes to the layback. So he's done so many different versions of it over the years. And just got a little late to that last section. Just pumping off the bottom here. And on this one, watch the back arm. He'll keep that stable, throws it back into the wall of the wave, pivots around it. Nice and low as he comes out. Pumping for speed again. And then throws the board up onto the roof of the wave here and just kind of cuts through the lip. It was marginally late.
So waiting on the numbers from the opening exchange to drop. Medina with a combination of turns. John just the one. It was hefty though. But yeah, there was a little bit of a shift in the atmospheric pressure down there around the Red Bull athlete zone this morning as these two were preparing to get ready. Everyone was drawn to it. They had cameras all over them. Yeah, it was intense. I think everyone's expecting big things from these two.
Well, to see these two matched up in the round of 16 is quite odd, and it's come as a result of Gabrielle being down on the ratings coming into this event. You know, generally the way the seeding system works, the top seed, once we get to the bracket, we'll come up against the lower seeds, and then we work our way into the middle of the draw. But Gabrielle being low on the ratings, he's come up against John Florence here. And this is a big matchup. Just note that Gabrielle kind of forced the issue at the start of the heat. He wanted the inside track, and if you can look at these two in comparison, you know, you would say Gabrielle is the more aggressive tactically. He would have forced the issue, wanted the inside. Got the first wave. Scores coming in. Gabrielle, he gets the edge on the opening exchange.
Yeah, 5.83, a 4 for John. Unable to combo up that big carve with a finishing move. And now it's Medina out there with priority, and John having a sniff on the inside here. Lets that one roll through. Strong offshore blowing, but these two, Rich, they're so heavy-footed. They don't seem to ever get too concerned with a strong offshore breeze. They have the power and the strength and the depth in their rail calves to maintain you know, control of their equipment.
Absolutely, and you know, couple with the size of these two competitors, you know, they're not small surfers. They're big guys. You know, both standing around the 6 foot mark. Gabrielle is a beast of a human. He trains the house down daily. You know, he is just muscle and brawn, and he manhandles that board around, and really these sort of offshore conditions where it's a little bit of fool's gold. Looking at it on the TV here, it looks beautiful and groomed, but when you're actually looking from the sea back to the shore, there's actually a lot of bump there that you have to navigate through. But these guys, no trouble, just keeping that rail engaged in the wave face, just biting through the water there.
You know, both world champions, both so accomplished. Kind of, you know, at opposite ends of the spectrum. You know, Medina, I think, gets that credit for being, we'll come back to that point as John has a look at this one, but Medina gets that credit as being the ultimate competitor and just so clutch. He has his biggest moments in the championship tour, Rashfest. John Florence, regarded by many as the best surfer in the world at the moment. His performances in championship tour events are amazing, but in free surfing, he's on another level, you'd have to say. So it's so fun to watch these two come together.
Yeah, they really are different characters, and I think you hit it. You know, John's a waterman. He spends a lot of time on the water, whether it's on a surfboard or on a foil or sailing. You know, he really does embrace, you know, what it truly is to be someone connected to the ocean. Whereas Gabriel, his focus seems to be just purely on winning heats, winning world titles, and making that resume as long as it can be. But both equally as talented. Some of the video parts that John has produced over the years, mind-blowing. Cinematography just beautiful to look at.
Well, these two, as you said, Rich, it's rare to see them meet in around a 16 heat, because usually these guys are destined for finals, and they've had some thrilling matchups over the years. We're going to throw back to one of the most high-scoring heats of all time. We saw John Florence and Gabriel Medina meeting in Tahiti, but have a look at the head-to-head stats here. 5 wins for John, 7 for Medina. Relatively close, isn't it?
It is 5-7, with Gabriel getting the edge there. But, you know, we're talking about excellent heat scores when you look at the averages, and those maximum wave scores, incredible.
Yeah, those are the top numbers that they've dropped head-to-head, and they came in the same heat. And that was in the semi-finals in Tahiti back in 2016. And these two were just on another level. Amazing. Look at the conditions.
Oh, Chopu in all its glory here, and two of the best to ever do it. You know, John obviously growing up in Hawaii, just so capable in these conditions. And Gabriel, he developed this big wave rep where he, you know, at places like Pipeline and Chopu, he became one of the high favourites.
Yeah, he did it with the jersey on. Have a look at this thing for Florence. Amazing. It's pretty rare that his mind will be blown with a tube ride.
Oh, these
so to
guys
do it in a heat is incredible.
Totally. These guys just forcing each other to the absolute limit of how you can surf that wave. You know, deep tube rides just so far back in the pit.
Back to live action now. And Medina working this one over right through to the inside. Banks on the final section, and he'll kick out. But yeah, just again to reflect on the numbers that they had in that semi-final heat. 19.66 for John winning through to crack the final, and Medina 19.23.
Just unbelievable score lines, and well, we hope that Chopu does it this year. Tiopo produces some incredible surf, and perhaps we'll see another matchup like that.
Yeah, and potentially, you know, an Olympic battle. Both these guys are going to be there for that, as we see John Florence on the replay here.
Oh,
a couple of falls now.
And the replay of Gabriel's tight in the pocket there. This is the advantage of the goofy footers. We talk about them squaring up off the bottom and then off the top. So vertical approach here from Gabriel. Note the surfboard and the angles. It points skyward. So drives hard off the bottom, gets high in the lip, just about hits that 12 o'clock mark. Gabriel almost upside down on that first turn, straight into the bottom turn. Banks it off the lip again, so great flow in between those first two turns. Up into the lip again, that one hit 12 o'clock. And brings it all the way through to the inside, just so connected on all these turns. Just keeps all that speed and momentum going. The board looks fantastic under his feet.
John on the outside. This is live. He's had a couple of falls. Let's see if he can finish this one off. Big turn to get started. Up over the section there. And he does find room to move and get a third hit in, hanging on for the finish, and he's going to get it. That's going to be a good number for Florence.
Well, he's had a couple of waves where he hasn't been able to finish the wave, and then that's John's best wave to date for sure. He got the combination done, got to that final turn. He doesn't want to let Gabriel get too far away on this one.
Medina is just an absolute force once he gathers some momentum. We know that, and Florence is going to really stay on track with him with that ride. Medina's just dropped to 7.83. He's out in front. John needs an 8.83 at this stage to jump up into the lead. It might not be that, but let's have another look at it.
Yeah, pretty late takeoff here, this first snap. Really aggressive. Drives around the line. Projection off the lip, and then the third turn just belts that final section and comes down with control. What John does so well, Ron, the connection between the upper and lower body, it's almost like he's on a swivel right at the hip moment. Just keeps that upper body always pointing down the line. The lower body does so much work, but he makes it look incredibly easy and smooth. Just gliding off the lip there. Front foot pressure, driving off that front foot now. Now the pressure shifts to that back foot, kicks the tail out, gets some tail release.
Ooh, did really well to wrestle his way out of that final move too.
Yeah, turbulent water behind him, but so strong, these guys.
Numbers dropping now, 7 points for John. He's back on track, needs a 6.67 at this point to get ahead of Medina, who looks so sharp on his 7.83, that first hit. So strong, and you were talking about just the advantage for the goofy footers in getting into that tighter position in the pocket. It's something that John can answer with the strength of his carving work on the open face. There is some surfers that might struggle to match it with someone like Medina if they don't have that kind of move, but that big rip in the pocket is just so powerful and fast and strong for John that he's managed to stay on pace here.
Well, trying to do that on your backhand on these waves is a really difficult thing to do, and that's why Gabriel's just leaning into that manoeuvre where he can get vertical, and I'm sure that when Ross Williams and John were sort of developing their game plan for this heat, Ross would have said just go to that power move, just go to your strengths and try and sort of power him out of the water. Don't match him for trying to do sort of vertical trickery.
Just on 19.5 minutes to go. Kaipo, we were just absolutely rubbing our hands together at the opportunity to see these two here at main break. You got the best seat in the house again, my friend.
Yeah, sure do. And, you know, the anticipation, these guys are fulfilling it. We had a pulse of waves coming through, too. But you're right. You talk about on the set about Gabe Medina and how sharp he's looking this morning. I know you guys talked a little bit about John's equipment. Gabe Medina, just last year, his Cabianca designs have been a little bit more foiled out, a little more tapered than what he's been riding in the past. And you can see the sensitivity, a little bit more sensitivity in his equipment as he's able to make really abrupt direction changes and really punch the lip on the backhand.
Love that. The conditions, Kaipo, looks beautiful out there at the moment.
Yeah, let's give you a Oakberry conditions update. It's about 4 to 5 foot. I think there's an odd bigger set actually, and 12 miles per hour. Offshore winds. It's a strong offshore wind, and the tide's coming in. I mean, the playing field's beautiful this morning, Ronnie.
Oh, it looks sensational. Enjoy that show, and hope to check in again with some perspectives from the lineup here as we watch two of the greats fight it out for a place in the quarterfinals here. John Florence taking this insider. Needs a 6.67. Opts out of that one, eyeing off what's happening down the line and seeing nothing in it.
Well left by Gabriel Medina. He had priority in that situation, opting not to take that wave, and it was a good decision.
This really could be so close, this heat, if John hadn't fallen on his 4.83 on that second move. His opening turn was so strong. But Kaipo touching on the equipment for Gabriel Medina, and you've got some insights on John's boards out there, Matty.
I do, Ronnie. I'm here with our Western Australia dream caddy, Oscar. He's looking after John John's board here in Coach's Corner. This is his backup, and it's a replica of what he's got out there in the water. It's a 6.0. It's the Paizel Red Tiger, so he's got the square tail with that foam still forward and up and around the chest like that Ghost model, which was brought to fame here in 2017 in that win, and really redefined what we know about conventional power surfing in today's surfing world. He's got some bigger prototype glass fins, solid glass fins here, which will suit Margaret River really well. And it looks like an absolute blade with the foam distribution forward. We're at 30.6 litres and 19.13 inches wide. So this is John John's state-of-the-art weapon. We'll have a look at what Medina's backup board is very shortly.
Awesome, mate. Thank you very much. We just saw John up and down again. So a couple of falls for him at the moment. Rich.
Uncharacteristic. It really is for John. Normally he is, you know, dependable to make these waves, to not fall. And just perhaps, you know, this matchup against well, one of the best in the business, Gabriel Medina, maybe it's playing into the psyche a little bit.
The great Kelly Slater obviously bowing out in this event, and his full-time spot on the championship tour is now gone. It's the end of an era of just complete domination where he surfed through generations and, you know, tapped into rivalries in each of those generations. And his rivalry with Andy Irons is, you know, the best we've ever seen. And every rivalry since then has been compared to that. They all fall short. But these two definitely have a simmering rivalry. And even John John's gone on the record and say, you know, I want to beat him. He's the guy that really I'm up against.
I think John John has flared up about this rivalry about as much as you'll ever see John John flare up, which is not that much. He's a pretty kind of reserved and content fella. Whereas I had a front row seat for the Andy Irons and Kelly Slater matchups. You know, I was right there watching it go down, and it was fierce. Both just competitive animals that wanted to tear each other's throats out. I feel like Gabrielle's kind of got that real hunger, that aggressive hunger. John a little bit more mellow, but we love this matchup. It's going to continue on for as long as these two guys are going to be on the tour.
Most definitely. 15 minutes to go here. Kaipo watching on out the back. A couple of uncharacteristic falls for John John here at main break.
Yeah, Ron, we talked about the stiff offshore winds. That is coming into play, but that is sticky rails for John John Florence. Usually he's powering through those turns. It's been a couple occasions where he's actually dug rail out here, and you guys have been talking what a machine Gabe Medina is. You know, you can't give him that kind of advantage in a matchup. So certainly the momentum right now is with Medina, with priority and the lead. We'll see how John John responds.
Yeah, it's going to need a big response. He needs 6.67, but you just get the feeling that with Medina out there at the moment holding priority, he's going to get rid of that 5.83 here at some stage. But at the moment, the heat is on. Heat 1, round of 16 will continue after the break. It is Gabriel Medina leading John John Florence at this stage. We are taking a trip back to see John Florence get a 10-point ride at this venue, just tucking into the pit. And no one can find their way through the maze like this guy. Unbelievable, Rich.
Oh, just one of the longest barrels we've ever seen out here. And then the huge foam rebound. That convergence of water, and John just manhandling it to perfection.
He's had so many highlights out here, of course. A 10-point ride in the event this year will fetch you a 110 Yeti cooler. Have a look at the size of this thing. You fit a lot of good times in that, Rich.
Oh yeah, well mate, we've been sitting in one of those for most of the week. Ice bars around the competition area has been well used.
Yeah, they're awesome products and a great prize if you can bag yourself a perfect score at this venue. Just under 12 minutes remaining here, and the situation hasn't changed during the break. Gabriel Medina with priority, with the lead, with the strongest number, and John Florence with some work to do, but it's certainly not out of reach for a guy that's dropped just a record number of excellent scores at this venue.
Yeah, I would say at this point in the heat, Gabriel has surfed the perfect heat so far. Just capitalising on both the scoring waves that he's taken off on. John's had a couple of mishaps, a couple of falls that potentially, at the end of this thing may cost him the heat. We don't know yet. Still plenty of time. Only needing the 667. He can pretty much do that in his sleep out here. And what a surprise to come down to main break today. Margaret River turned it on. Plenty of sets pouring through.
Well, we know there's so much on the line at stop number 5. At the completion of this event, we'll have the cut, we'll reduce the men's field down to 22 people. And the next heat is going to decide who one of those surfers are that will be relegated. And believe it or not, it's going to be a battle between the Puppo brothers.
Oh, it's going to be a bittersweet moment. Obviously these guys will just have fun competing against each other, but unfortunately, we will lose someone out of the draw here.
9 years difference between the brothers, and Miguel said as a result of that, he's had a real paternal role as an elder sibling to Sammy Puppo, so they never really kind of had that intense sibling rivalry. Well, that's going to change.
Well, that's going to change in a big way, as we can see Iggy just tuning up there. Great facilities here. The Red Bull Athlete Zone is just jam-packed with everything these surfers need to warm up, to prepare, to get ready for battle.
John Florence is approaching 20 excellent heat scores at this event, and you've got to make some comparisons to other surfers in the draw. So I think he's up to 19. His round of 32 heat was very strong. I think he top scored last time we had the competition underway. I know he had an excellent score, but yeah, the next closest on the championship tour is Gabriel Medina, and Jack Robinson is the same, 5 excellent heat scores. So he's just so far and ahead the most dominant surfer at this venue. It's mad, but at the moment he needs to call on those stats and get himself back in this game.
Yeah, for sure, and he will do it, no doubt about it. I feel like he's kind of warmed into this heat, whereas Gabriel has been solid as a rock from the opening siren.
Just the option to go to the short board for John Florence. Obviously that's what he would have been free surfing on in all the days leading up to this clash. The right option?
I was actually surprised, to be honest. I thought it was still big enough and enough energy in the water for him to lean into that ghost model. He did ride the ghost model the other day when it was only just marginally bigger than it is today, but he's been doing a lot of work on that. Well, there was the white tiger and the red tiger models. And it is sort of a more compact version, more user-friendly version of that ghost, which is it's such an interesting board. I could talk for an hour on it, just all the little design intricacies of that board. Gabriel's, sorry, go.
8 minutes to go here. I was going to say John Florence, his domination here, it's not just limited to the Championship Tour event. He also had a victory here in 2012 when it was a qualifying series event. He loves this place. If he's chasing clips, if he wants good content, I think one of the first places he puts on his list is WA.
Oh, absolutely. It's, you know, the region just has so much to offer in terms of a variety of waves. It holds power like Hawaii does. Obviously, the beauty of this place can't be understated enough.
That's right. Yeah, it's a sensational place to visit and a great place to watch two of the greats battle it out for a place in the quarterfinals. If you've just joined us, we want to say kaya, which is the local hello here. The WSL acknowledges the Wadundee people as the traditional owners of the Margaret River region, and we want to thank them. Zach, Uncle Wayne, Simon, who really lead the welcoming ceremony, but the women of this area are just unbelievable too. Thanks for having us on Buja. We respect this community and we love this area, and everyone treading lightly around the zone and really looking to keep this place pristine as Florence again gets after this 6.67. Oh, throws it out onto the flats. It's a high impact landing and the shock absorbers fail him on that occasion. On the outside, Medina. Well, it wasn't the wave for him. He opted out of it. He maybe could have added to his 5.83, but he's opted for priority. Probably a pretty smart move. Medina had that really close heat down at Bells Beach against Cole Hausman in the earlier rounds. He was surfing fast, he was powerful, he was punching the lip. But I think he's even refined things a little bit more here.
Oh, John just didn't get enough projection off the lip here, out onto the flats. That's like landing on cement right there. You can see just gets completely buckled on the landing.
Complete commitment to sticking that move. But John's just looked a little out of sorts today here in this opening round heat. But yeah, Gabriel Medina's approach on the backhand ridge at Bells, it was quick, it was down the line. He was punching the lip, but he's redirecting his equipment a little bit more out here at Mainbreak now. I think, you know, despite the fact he felt a little robbed in that exchange, I think he's taken some notes as well.
Yeah, the angles are definitely a little sharper from the last event. And he came here early, did a lot of work, and the surf wasn't too dissimilar to what it is now. So a lot of clips on social of Gabriel preparing.
Just the complete redirection of your equipment. It's commitment to the turn, and when you're doing that in the most critical part of the wave, it's undeniable. That's why he's got the best number of this heat so far. You know, but the beauty of Medina is, you know, why he's so progressive. When he has a wave with a bit of push in it, he can go rail to rail with the best of them.
Totally. Yeah, no, he can match it power for power, no doubt about that. As I mentioned earlier, one of the strongest, probably the strongest on tour in terms of fitness. He is an absolute machine. And his boards, yeah, as Kaipo mentioned, used to be quite bulky and boxy. But he has refined them in the last few seasons, just lowering that rail a little bit more, taking some foil through the nose and the tail, just to allow a bit more bite into the wave face.
So we're down in the southwest of Australia on a little stretch of coast, about 48 kilometres worth, and it's just so wave rich. Great surfing destination, and this venue has consistently provided us with a great destination for big powerful swells. It's been a little on the smaller side this year, but still quality mornings, clean conditions, and that's exactly what you want when you've got a match up this big out there in the lineup.
Yeah, this is it's definitely been the grindiest Margaret River Pro I've ever been a part of. I've been here for a lot of years now, but even still, days like today, the wave quality still beats so many other locations in the world. It is just an absolute magnet, picking up swell from anywhere from that south right around to the west-southwest direction. Coming out of the Indian Ocean, long lines as you come down. You just see these corduroy lines marching towards the shore.
Yeah, right. You get a good view of the bommies in the area too. So we were happy this morning, even with the earlier call. You could see that whitewater detonating on some of those outer reefs, and the crowd already on show. I think one thing I can say about this area is there is a lot of great surfers in this zone, extremely committed surfers, the kind of surfers that are, you know, paddling out to these outer reefs solo more often than not in cold, raw conditions. And, you know, as surf fans, that they love watching the world's best attack this wave, and there's a lot of people on hand to watch this first heat go down.
Yeah, there's been so many locals down here every day, really voicing their appreciation of all the athletes out here. Some actually sharing waves in the free surfs. Looks like a couple of lines approaching now. Just like that, 2 minutes to go. John.
It's one of the cool things about this sport is, you know, the lineups are only reserved for competition. So, you know, recreational surfers can get out there. You'll have a tough time getting yourself a wave, but it's cool to see. The GWM 2-minute warning would be a real concern here for the Florence camp, as John just looks to get himself back in this one. Medina taking this wave. Bit of a funky first turn, but he'll try and make up for it. He's trying to better a 5.83. That's not going to do it. That's going to open the door for Florence now, who hasn't had it going his way just yet. But this wave might help. Up into the first section. Goes to that trademark turn. Needs more out of it to get the number. Nice, clean hit. And a rare celebration from Florence after a 6.67 out of this one. And how often have you seen him celebrate like that?
Well, very rare to see John Florence with an outpouring of emotion and acclaim. So a little insight into what this heat actually means to him. And that was a good combo. Uppercut and a right hook. Let's have a look here. Just perfect snap there off the lip. Really quick redirect. And then got to that final turn. Got the tail release. Here's the water view. Watch the carve and the redirection. Slams it really hard through the lip there. Beautiful pivoting action. Watch how quickly the board goes from one direction here, gets the nose pointing back down and then back into that bottom turn.
Wow, huge turning point moment in the heat potentially here, Kaipo. Medina making the wrong call on which wave to take, and John capitalising on the second rod.
See, the second wave in the set, it was much bigger, was much better, and the fact that Gabe took that one, yeah, that he just a lapse in concentration. I think for Medina could cost him.
Well, the guys are out there hugging it out at the moment, and the score's not even in yet. Kaipo, always exciting when two greats come together.
Right? It just raises the level. Both of them raise the level of each other in this, whenever they come and clash, and that was another example of it. Waiting for the score for John, Ron. You think he did enough?
Wow, he surfed it really well. It was super fast, Rich. But the comparisons are going to be made to Medina's 7.83 to John's 7. There's a lot to digest here.
I think they're actually going to be comparing it to his 5.83, because that was a two-turn combination for Gabriel that he started with. He had that first open face and then a clean finish. John's wave was a two-turn combination as well, and it needs to be about a point better than that.
It's such a close heat, you know, and Medina took that first wave of the set.
Well, and you know, you look at the 5.83 here. So Gabriel comes round, clean snap with tail release, and another one. Just the rails perfectly clean through both of those turns.
John's wave bigger though?
Yeah, John's wave a little bit bigger for sure. Equally as strong on the opening snap. Has to do a little bit more work down the line and get some tail release. So really comparable scores.
You just do not see John Florence do his own mind. That just tells you where he's at competitively, what he wants to get out of this season. As we see the numbers start to roll through, looking pretty good. Needs a 6.67. This last score, crucial. And it's in, a 6.9. John Florence survives a shaky start to the heat. But a wave selection error, you'd have to call it, at the end of the heat for Medina. Used his priority, wasn't able to up the heat score total, and Florence He really made that second ride count.
Well, Medina kind of had to go, though. He had priority. The wave looked good. I just feel like Gabriel didn't surf the wave as well as he could have, so potentially not able to convert that into the score. If John got that first ride, he may have, you know, got the score. So I feel like Gabriel's decision to take that wave at that time was the correct one. But, you know, just for him, the second wave was better, and John just got the luck of the draw when it came to that set, and the better wave being the second one.
Man, incredibly close heat. 13.9 for John Florence, 13.66 for Gabriel Medina. Not one of John's strongest performances, but enough to get him through to the quarterfinals here. We're going to take a quick break. The Puppo brothers will hit the lineup next. The Western Australia Margaret River Pro is brought to you by Tourism Western Australia, official tourism partner of the Western Australia Margaret River Pro. By Bonsoy, the official milk of the World Surf League. By Rusty, official apparel of the Western Australia Margaret River Pro. And by Shiseido, official sunscreen partner of the World Surf League. Welcome back to the show. Already feels like it's been a big day. We just saw John Florence and Gabriel Medina go at it for a place in the quarterfinals. John winning that one. And now we're going to move into a very interesting heat. And you've got the Puppo brothers meeting once again. And it's Miguel and Samuel. They are fighting for their place on this championship tour. What a tragic moment for them in some ways, Rich. Both of these guys want to see each other on the CT, obviously, but it's also pretty special to be out there with your brother. It's a unique situation that we have here. Brothers competing against each other. The downside is that we're going to be sending someone back to the Challenger Series potentially, and this is going to be an interesting one. And again, it's a goofy footer versus natural footer matchup. In that last heat, we saw Gabriel and John focusing all their energy onto the right-handers, and no doubt we'll see that continue. Beautiful sets. Starting to approach the lineup here. Oh, some real energy rolling our way here at the moment. And we'll see if there's any kind of shoulder-to-shoulder hustling for position when this first set wave stands up. No takers. This one capping on that outside. The boys just a little bit out of position at this stage of the game. Biggest set of the morning, and you saw that right-hander just reeling off. So just a little out of position. Well, Miguel almost had a look at it through the dummy for his brother, who didn't bite on it either. So priority still neutral at this stage of the game. Yeah, it was interesting that these brothers were nowhere near each other during the warm-up for this heat. During their preparation time, Sammy was down the top of the coach's stairs. Miguel choosing to stay in the athlete zone and just warm up from a further away vantage point. Plenty of time remaining for these competitors. 35-minute heats this morning for the round of 16 as we have a think about brothers on the championship tour that we've seen in the past. There's been some greats. World champ Derek Ho, his brother Michael, still charging backdoor. The Patar bros, Bruce and Andy Irons, they had some epic clashes. The Hobgoods. How much did you miss those guys?
Oh yeah, so much fun, the boys. Corey and Shay Lopez. And I did the tour with a lot of these guys, Tanner and Pakadauskas. Happy vibes, Owen and Mikey Wright.
Amazing. And then at the moment, we obviously have the Puppos out there in the lineup. Crosby and Griff, Colapinto. They surf the heat against one another down there at Bells Beach. Bit of a fizzer, so hopefully we get another opportunity to see those two go at it. But these two brothers, Kaipo, 9 years between them, and as Miguel said, they never really butted heads as Groms, a little different to us and our siblings.
Yeah, I mean, when we see the history of brothers on the championship tour, there's kind of two flavors of it, right? There's like the rivalry brothers, like the Hobgoods against each other, or Bruce and Andy Irons, or even the Lopez brothers. And then there's the brothers that are really supportive of each other and have to turn that warrior on. You know, I come to Crosby and Griffin Colapinto, just supportive of each other. Same with Samuel and Miguel. So it's I think it's a friendlier type of sport between these brothers in comparison to some of the real rivalry brothers that we've seen in the past on the championship tour.
Yeah, most definitely. It's a good point. In fact, Sammy leans into Miguel and gets advice for him for formulating heat strategies and whatnot. I'm pretty sure he maybe hit mute on Miguel coming into this clash, though, to give himself the best chance at staying on this championship tour.
Sent him to voicemail for sure. But I just want to touch on the development and the trajectory of Samuel over the last couple of years. It was a few seasons ago where he really caught my eye. There was some performances that he laid down in Hawaii at Haleiwa. Really fast, almost Philippe-esque. And his body has increased in weight and strength over the last couple of years. He's a big guy now, but he hasn't lost any of that speed and flair to his surfing. So he's becoming incredibly well-rounded. I was surprised at how well he handled bigger conditions as well. And he's one of the guys that I've sort of tagged as like in that improvement. He's been one of the most improved surfers over the last few seasons.
I'd agree with that for sure. Thinking about these two and their head-to-head history, this is just their second meeting in a championship tour heat. They did have a battle at the 2022 Mayo Pro Portugal, and it was Miguel getting the jump on his brother there. And it was there was two peaks, there was two sandbars kind of on offer, and Miguel stuck to the lefts, and Sammy was on the rights, and he managed to get the jump on his little bro.
Yeah, well, seems fitting, doesn't it, that big bro gets the first one, and little bro, well, he'll be ready to fight back today. Wasn't a huge scoring affair.
No.
Relatively low scores, a grindy heat. Let's hope this one matches up and the boys get plenty of opportunity. You can see those swell lines sort of halfway between the break and the horizon now. That's the next set that's approaching approximately 5 to 6 minutes in between each set as the rhythm today.
Without question, with the heats that we have to kick off this round of 16, the Brazilian audience would be on and watching and tuned in. Also, the Puppo family, and it's a big shout out to Gina and Wagner, Sammy and Miggy's parents, also to Miguel's wife, Bruna, and his daughters, Luna, Serena, and Flora. You know, what a moment. What a proud moment for the parents too, to watch their boys compete, you know, alongside each other most of the time, but here against one another too. You just couldn't have dreamed that up as these individuals, and I'm sure for the parents it's just really proud.
Proud parent moment for sure, and like I said before, it's going to be bittersweet.
Yep.
Because you know, we're at this stage of the competition. Someone's going home, and it's going to sting, this one.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt though, whoever gets the victory is going to be there to console the brother that doesn't survive this cut. So let's see and hope that we get a good size set wave rolling in soon. We'll take a couple of them, thank you very much.
Yeah, well, this one looks like it's just moved out into the channel. Had a lot of south direction on this one. It may hit the peak. Good free surf wave, but just not quite at the level. These surfers so in tune as the swell lines come. They're assessing how it's going to break. They're potentially looking at the opportunity to build a score on the wave.
Rich, did your brother Pete ever compete in events?
No. Pete and I, we sort of grew up surfing. You know, he was better than me. And then
really,
yeah, he was when we were starting out, and then I kind of stuck with it. And he,
the nightlife got him.
Yeah, he started, going into a life of fun, and but he's a very capable waterman in his own right. Basically has spent his whole life on the water, sailing and fishing and doing all sorts of stuff.
Ship captain.
Yep.
We love it. 24 minutes to go here. Still no wave ridden for these two. Thinking about Miggy's career, he's had some standout rides that come to mind. Big soul arching barrel over there at Pipe. Also had some amazing competitive results. But let's have a look at the Epic Live rankings here, Rich.
Oh, so close. So Sammy, Puppo down there. They're actually on the same scores there. If you look at the points, 9,300. So this is critical. Just building points here, trying to get above that red cut line. Seth Manise has just moved into that position. And the rest of those competitors there already out of the draw. The highlighted surfers there still in it, still capable of stealing points.
Seth's facing Ethan Ewing in Heat 5. It's going to be an intense battle for him to maintain his position just based on the form that Ethan's been showing this season. So, yeah, I don't feel like he'd be, he's definitely locked in and ready to fight for that place. But it is going to be very difficult, especially if the conditions stay as clean as they are now. But these two starting to make a move now. Potentially we could see the first ride as the battle gets started here between the Puppo brothers. It's Sammy who gets wave number one and just has to adjust on that first turn. Needs to make up for it with a couple of big hits down the line here. And that is a really strong finish. Bit of water over that reef at the moment, so the surfers can really attack that final section as Miguel starts to wind up this big backhand. Couple of hits, but his wave doesn't do much down the line, so you'd have to say Miguel won the opening stage of his ride, but Sammy really made up for a slow start on his wave with a strong finish.
Yeah, well, you'd have to say that the boys were just a little bit out of position there. And Sammy, due to taking off so late behind the peak, just didn't have that beautiful rhythm at the start of that wave, wasn't able to get a big opening turn. Watch here, it's a late takeoff. Now, he has to do a bit of work to come around this section, and instead of being able to come up into that lip earlier, just had to sort of drag a sleepy snap to start things off. But then this final maneuver, nice layback gaff. But watch the backhand work here of Miguel. Beautiful clean slice off the top. You can see already there's a flow to this wave that was absent on Sammy's wave, and smartly kicks out and will retain priority because this next wave is going to be an important one. A couple of mid-range scores, I predict, are going to fall into line here.
Sammy Puppo had some real success on the Challenger Series last year. A couple of big wins to get his place on this CT once again. In fact, he recovered really quickly last time he was relegated. He went straight to the Gold Coast and took the honours, but hasn't had a CT win yet. In 2022, he finished runner-up over there in Brazil, the Oi Rio Pro. But Miguel, wow, didn't he have a moment breaking through for his first championship to a victory?
Yeah, and in Tahiti, we saw it was a popular win.
Oh.
It was one of those ones where, everyone was just so stoked. He's such a likable character, always has a smile on his face, has a real gentle kind of calming energy about him. And yeah, I think we all celebrated when he took the victory there. And to get one at Tahiti, that's one of those pretty special ones.
It is. 20 minutes remaining here, still waiting on those first scores to drop. Let's check in with our first quarter finalist here at the Western Australia Margaret River Pro, John Florence with Stace.
John Florence, more tests.
Yeah, that was quite a stressful heat, kind of. But I don't know, just surfing against Gabe is always fun, and I've been surfing against him since we qualified together, and so I don't know, I was just so stoked to get that wave in the end and just really try to hold together the nerves on it, you know, and try to beat him. He's one of the best competitive surfers of our time, and yeah, so I was really stoked to get that wave.
Tell us what it feels like to kind of have that competitive prowess put on you. He's taking waves off you, kicking out, getting priority. Like, surely that wears you down.
Yeah, it wears you down, but it was nice today that there was a lot of opportunity, and it's kind of been more waves than there has been the last few days. And so I was kind of like, okay, I'll get another chance. And every set that's come, there's been 2-wave sets. And so if there was a set, I knew I was going to get a chance. But it is hard, you know. He's so gnarly, he's so calculated in what he's doing in the heat, and I feel like he's able to think about everything really quickly. So it's like a constant pressure through the whole heat if you don't get an early lead on it. But yeah, it's tough.
Your other heats were slow starts, you weren't even riding waves. This heat you had a couple of really nice opening turns then with a fall. Do you still take confidence out of your own body and equipment after those kind of slow starts compared to the other heats?
Yeah, for sure. You know, today I had a couple falls in the beginning, and it's just early morning, you're waking up, and no matter how much you warm up, it's so early, you're like still waking up. But I felt pretty good today. You know, I feel like every day is different. Some days you fall and it kind of really gets to you, but today I was just like, okay, like I just know there's waves coming. I'm gonna get another chance. And so I felt pretty good about it in that sense.
Certainly. Well done, John.
Thank you, Stace. Well, just an amazing breakdown too. Just talking about the constant pressure that Medina puts on his opponents in heats. It's amazing just how calculated he is. John did well to survive that one, and lucky to have the opportunity at the end of the clash. Had faith that Margaret River would provide for him again, and it did. Out there in the lineup, we had a couple of waves ridden during the interview, Rick.
Yeah, it looks like Sammy Puppo got the first wave in the set, and he converted. Pull up the replay here. Well, this is Miggy's ride. So this was the second wave of the set. Again, nice clean turns on the backhand. Late for that third turn, and just kicks out. So looking for something a little better. But so Sammy got the first wave of the set here. Opening carve down off the bottom. I like this second carve. Holds that rail line for a little bit longer. A quick snap in the pocket. So all the varieties there. A nice wrap with some tail release. And all the way through to the inside. You'll notice the booty on the back foot of Sammy's, on Samuel there. That's from that injury the other day. But a great carve down here. Driving hard off the bottom. Watch this, holds it, drags it all the way around. Oh. Now he releases, transitions onto the toe side rail. Smooth bottom turn. Tight pivoting turn there. Almost does what we call a little pizza throw with the arms. Helping the quickness and fast snap motion.
Back to live action, and Miguel on a bomb here. Good size wave, couple of solid hits already. And looks to add a couple more points on the inside. It just gets a little lumpy and ugly to deal with. But we've got good scores coming through for Sammy Puppo here. 16 minutes remaining. We'll get updated on the situation in a moment, but right now we're going to check in with Matt Janoski.
Down here with Luis Pinga, he's the coach in Samuel's corner right now. We have Adriano de Souza down on the beach, who was carrying Miggy's board down there as the board caddy. But Luis, that last exchange, we just saw Sammy get 2 waves back to back, probably getting the exchange on top of his brother. How was the preparation, the two brothers? Were they sleepless, or what was the thought going into this morning's clash?
Yes, it's hard, you know. We have the two brothers in the same heat. More in the situation they are having now, no, about the cut. This result is very important for both. But we have a very calm last days. And they are know what they're doing, no. That's the game. On a foot element, they have the same heat. But the preparation is okay. Samuel just relaxed because they cut in the foot, 3 days ago. and Miguel came to training every day. It's a normal life, you know.
Yeah.
They need to put all the energy, all the focus to try to do in the best. You know.
And that foot injury, you mentioned that we know that it's strapped up the other day on that step over the reef. That's when he injured the foot, right?
Yes. He walked in the reef, and they have a little cut, you know, and the doctor puts a few steps, and they are relaxed the last 2-3 days. You know.
And when he fell up, we noticed a little bit of blood on the toes and whatnot. Could he surf? Has he surfed since that heat, or he's been out of the water? Is this the first time he's hit the water?
Yeah, it's the first time he's in the water.
Okay.
No.
Well, so far so good. If you're in the water with him right now, any advice given that he's in the lead right now?
I think more calm, control the emotion, because the emotion is too big, not just because the situation, but he compete against his brother, and the more important is the mind, he need to have a big control of the mind, control the emotion to try to do the best.
Thanks, Luis.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. And Luis Pinga, he's a fixture on this tour. He's been around forever. He's helped a lot of the Brazilian surfers realise their dreams and really been an integral part of the Brazilian movement. He's an absolute legend, real character. And yeah, no doubt offering fantastic advice to both these guys at the moment. But that injury to the foot, for Sammy Puppo, he's got that booty on. It was intense. The surfers are so committed to the final section here, and more often than not, as a CT campaigner coming to stop number 5, you're going to come into contact with the rocks. Let's get a Bond University athlete health check. And Rick, just a wild approach in trying to exit his ride.
Yeah, excuse me, that's just the commitment. There's so much adrenaline going through your body in these situations where you're in a heat. You will literally do anything. And yeah, well, Sammy the other day just rode this wave right to the end moment and then ran out of water, and then he goes, righto, I'm going to have to just step off here. And he started running across the reef, and you can see,
yeah.
Well, mate, even though there is sort of congee and seaweed on this rock shelf, in between all of that, there are, sharp parts of the reef. So Sammy opting to put the booty on. He did have a couple of stitches in the foot.
He might end up sticking with the booty because he did drop an 8 on his last wave. Sammy Puppo out in front. An 8-point ride. They're looking to get rid of a 5 now to increase his heat score total, but he's put the big bro up against the ropes. Miguel needs a 7.51 to jump into the lead here.
Yeah, it's a really power position that he is in right now with that big 8-point ride and with priority at the moment.
His first time with priority too, so Miguel's going to make him think about his wave selection. Will he take that first wave? We'll have to wait and see, but still plenty of time for these two to fight it out. Just under 12 minutes remaining here. Heat 2 of the day. We're going to get through the round of 16, and there is so many big matchups coming your way. Well, WSL teamed up on a coastal restoration project with the Nature Conservation Margaret River region and their Youth Marine Steward program to work together in healing the landscape to prevent erosion and to learn more about this incredible ocean ecosystem. We planted local native coastal plants and laid brush. Tell us what you're doing to protect the ocean by posting on social media with the hashtag WSL1Ocean. Back to the second heat of the morning here at the Western Australia Margaret River Pro, the round of 16. Looking for someone to go up against John Florence in the quarterfinals. And it's a battle between the brothers who are looking to save their place on this championship tour. And at the moment, it's the little bro, the baby bro, Samuel, leading this heat. He's got an excellent score, despite the fact he's got an injured foot. He's ripping. Yeah,
he's looking really good, sharp. Doesn't look like that foot injury is really hampering him at all.
Spoken about Miguel's amazing performances at heavy water locations, but as a Grom, Miguel was like one of the most innovative, progressive surfers that we'd seen, always taking to the sky as his surfing evolved and his power turns got stronger. He leaned into that probably a little bit more. Sammy Puppo, you'd mark him as one of the more progressive surfers on tour, had some big airs in competition. He's got that spark in his surfing. I could see little shades of Toledo in his approach.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that real fast action for the turns. Miguel, perhaps a shade smoother, a bit more stylish in my opinion, has that real classic kind of almost Jerry Lopez-esque sort of style, particularly on the forehand. But a real contrast, and it's exciting for us as spectators to see these two go at it. Unfortunately, the loser will be going back to the Challenger Series, but the consolation prize, some Snapper Rocks action.
Maybe the sibling rivalry is not too gnarly for those guys because one's a goof and one's a regular foot. They're just splitting peaks, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Could be the case. 7.5 minutes to go, Kaipo. We know this heat. There's so much on the line for these brothers.
Yeah, tons on the line, and an observation, Ronnie, out here from the lineup is that Samuel's 8-point ride, that wave was the first wave of the set. Now, standard kind of conditioning here at main break is you're thinking usually the second wave is going to be the better wave, but that was not the case in that set that came through. So what it's telling me is you really got to have a head on the swivel right now, and you can come out here with a game plan, but you got to be able to take audibles from the ocean. You got to be able to read the oncoming sets. And that's what Sammy did. I don't even think he had priority on that first wave, and he equaled up into an excellent score, that 8-point ride.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and probably something that the competitors are paying a lot of attention to. You think about that first heat of the day, you know, it's going to baffle them at times. As we see, Sammy up again. Great start to this ride. Good looking wall. This is the replay of that 8-point ride from earlier on. Just so aggressive through that first move. Yeah, but that was the first wave of the set, and Miguel's kind of been in that rhythm of waiting for the second, maybe thinking, you know, that's where John got the edge on Medina, but it's not playing out that way at the moment.
Miggy didn't even look at that wave, and Sammy just went, okay, little gift, and it just stood up on the inside reef, that second carve in particular, where he held that line just for a little bit longer, really emphasizing the power of the turn.
Yeah, I love that. Get excited about the performances of these surfers that have come into this event below the cut line, and just how hard they're surfing at the moment. They're surfing through those nerves. You know, Sammy on his first wave, he did look shaky on the first turn. He looked a little bit out of position, but I think he just probably was trying to get reconnected with his equipment after that injury's kept him dry for a couple of days.
Getting used to a booty on your foot as well. I always struggle to get a feel. Your back foot normally connects with the tail pad. Almost feels like you're surfing with a flip-flop or a pair of sand shoes on when you've got a booty on. And it's just, I mean, the booty technology these days has come a long way, but nothing really compares to just having bare skin on a tail pad.
That's right, yeah, they felt like gumboots back in the day. Your foot would slide around in them, but Usually the smaller the better for the booties. Nice and tight, your
Yep.
foot doesn't move around, but you do get good traction. And that can help in a lineup like this where you get that slippery foot walking across the reef in the morning. Next heat is going to be a beauty. The world number 1, Griffin Colapinto, getting set with his coach, Tom Whitaker, a former winner here in the West. He'll be up against Buayam. Looking forward to that. Ramsey from Morocco. Great to see him get some opportunities and do some great surfing. He has done one of my favourite turns of the event so far. On a left here, just a big full rail man carve.
Yeah, we're so lucky that we're treated to these goofy foot v natural foot matchups so far in all the heats this morning. Just the different approach, the contrast of styles. It's going to be a great one. Griffin Colapinto, he is just on a roll this year, surfing so well.
He is. So 4 minutes remaining here. It's gone a little quiet. So, you know, Richie, in these situations as a competitor, when you're marinating on a pretty big number to get ahead and you don't have priority, is it pressure building? What do you do to sort of quiet the head noise?
Yeah, frustration builds, pressure builds. But it becomes a fairly simple scenario if you can block that out. He's got to, Miguel needs to really pressure Sam when this next set turns up. He's got to force him into the first wave and just hope that second wave does produce a great canvas for him.
Just looking at the previous rides of Miguel, he's been on some decent sized waves. What can he do to break into that, you know, near excellent range to turn this one around?
Well, as we look at the recap here, let's have a look at Sammy's first ride here. You can see just a little disjointed in the opening moments, but then he tidied it up, just projecting off the lip here, and that final finishing turn, just so much commitment. So look at Miguel here. It's smooth, it's calculated, it's clean. I'd like to see a bit more of a radical approach if he wants to really get up into that excellent scoring range. He's got to put a bit more energy and aggression into those turns. And this is Sammy, who took advantage of this inside wave, that beautiful clean carve, the second turn that we've been highlighting. Clean snap, variety of this wave here, kind of had it all.
Just all speed and just flowing brilliantly. Great variation in the approach there too, a number of different turns, but I think you're spot on. I think Miguel's got to take that snap back into the pocket of the wave a little bit more, and if he's going to match it with his little brother here, he's got to get a little bit more aggressive through those opening combinations.
Yeah, right now he's just praying for an opportunity. He needs the ocean to produce something. Just gone into a little bit of a lull, a sleepy moment here.
You'd never underestimate Miguel's chances of getting through the Challenger Series. However, I feel like if Miguel ends up there, he might find it a little bit harder than Sammy, just with the locations. I know that's a pretty big thing to say because he's so accomplished, but you know, Sammy's surfing just seems to work on the Challenger Series.
Yeah, he's got that ability to adapt, that quick, fast action. You know, when you look at these two surfers, you would have to say that Miggy's style is suited to more of a bigger, cleaner, open face, more of a power style of wave. Sammy perhaps a bit more adaptable to conditions where a fast approach, maybe some aerials are the order of the day.
One thing is for sure, whoever is relegated to that Challenger Series is going to be a handful for the rest of the field. So much experience for Miguel. For Sammy, young at the start of his career, I think has so many good years left ahead of him. Has already shown that he can go a long way in a championship to a draw, and he's going to need to do that here if he wants to survive the cut. But at the moment, with 35 seconds to go, it feels like he's going to get the victory here. And the work was done early. Just 2 waves for Sammy Puppo, a 5, but the big number, the 8-point ride, has set him up beautifully here.
Yeah, that was the difference, and well, Miggy, that one's going to haunt him because he actually let that wave go.
This is going to be an emotional one too, you know, but Miguel is such a cool customer. I feel like he'll process it maybe a little better than what his brother could, just because he's an older head.
Yeah, the experience that comes with age. Not that Miggy's old.
Mate,
Still got so many good years left in him, but what a special moment there. You can see the emotions just pouring out here.
Sammy has leaned into his big brother's experience and just like his expert heat knowledge to get good results on the championship tour. And Miggy actually went with Sammy back to the Challenger Series event last year, and I think it was pivotal in his return to the championship tour. And let's hope Sammy can do the same for Miguel.
Well, we would have expected tears from that man there, Miguel Puppo, but it was his younger brother who got the win, who was overcome with emotions and let the tears flow, because it's, like we say, it was always going to be a bittersweet moment for these guys.
Just one of the best people on the CT, hands down. He wins the Good Bloke World title every year.
Yeah, and the tears are still flowing there for Sammy Puppo. It was a victory, but one that didn't come without sacrifice for his older brother, who we'll see don the jersey at Snapper Rocks.
Big moment for the Puppo family, huge moment for Sammy, staying alive in this draw, moving through to the quarters. We'll get a chat with Miguel at some point too. We'll take a quick break here. When we return, Joe, Felicity and Crosby Colapinto will step in for the call. Margaret River is just a special zone. It has a different kind of energy. You feel it as soon as you enter the place. The town's buzzing. The surf, I think, is probably the big draw card.
Margaret River, it's one of the most amazing places in the world, and it's just the most extraordinary place to come.
The southwest of WA, we're living on a dream here. All the vineyards, the surf, the coastal, it's like no other place in the world.
The round of 16 continues here at the Western Australia Margaret River Pro as a new heat hits the lineup now. Griffin Colapinto, world #1, taking on Morocco's Ramzi Buayam for a spot in the quarterfinals. Joe Turpel, Felicity Palmatier, and Griffin's younger brother, Crosby Colapinto, rookie on tour, joining us for the call. Cross, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Joey. Thanks, Flick.
Yeah, just came off an emotional one. We saw the brothers Puppo in that last heat and Sammy getting the win, but full of tears. I'm sure you could feel the empathy for that moment for the two bros.
Yeah, that looked like a hard one, because I was just kind of putting myself in their shoes of like me surfing against Griffin and one of us is falling off the tour. It's like that's got to be super hard. So it was hard to watch that, honestly.
Yeah, this is when those emotions pour out at stop 5 at the cut. You did have a heat with your brother at Bell's, but it was more of a celebration with not thinking about the cut on the line, obviously coming off a huge result in Portugal. One thing we want when you guys get another heat like that is to have the waves absolutely fire as we see the moment for Sammy. Probably one of the most emotional heat victories of his career. He did fall off the tour last year, and he had an emotional reaction to that here at Margaret River, and that just continues to be the same, win or lose. You're feeling that tension.
Oh, there is just so much emotions involved around this event. Obviously, it's the cut event, but I feel for Sammy and I feel for Miggy as well. It just such a interesting dynamic, and you know, obviously he's happy to be getting through, but I mean, we could just see the emotions. You could see how upset he was, and just obviously how much this means to him, because he was here last year, like you said, Joe, and didn't make the cut, had to get relegated back to the Challenger Series. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting post-heat interview, I'd say.
Definitely, as we look at Griff and Ramsey at the moment. Both had an opportunity to surf with Kelly in this event. Ramsey in the opening round of competition got the victory there. And then Griff had the round of 32 matchup with Kelly, as that's been a gigantic storyline at this event, Cross. Did you get a chance to talk to Griff about that experience being with Kelly in the round of 32?
Yeah, he was just, I think he was kind of just tripping when he came in, and Kelly was getting carried up, and he was kind of just looking at him, and it kind of threw him off. And then just to have that like last heat with him here, I mean, I'm sure he'll come back and do some more heats, but just to have the last heat here and have him get carried up, I think he was just like really like taking it in. And I think everyone was. When he got carried up on the stairs, I was standing there and I was kind of just like, it kind of felt like one of those like weird, like surreal moments, like a dream or something, that you're like, whoa, this is really happening right now. So it was just, yeah, it was trippy to watch that. And then for Griffin to do that, like have him in the heat, it was pretty special.
I think that's a very similar reaction to what a lot of people had for one of Kelly's best friends, Ross Williams. He was surfing the box, you know, with Betty Lou and Lulu, and all of a sudden he's seeing clips of the chair up all the way up to the top, and he's going, oh shoot, I would have been there. But he has this idea that that moment's never really going to happen. You know, that's kind of where everybody was at, and maybe still is in some ways.
Oh, I felt exactly the same way. It like you said, it just didn't feel real. I remember just, yeah, I saw those videos on social media everywhere, and obviously I was down here, but I don't even know where to begin in summarizing the career that he's had, or just the impact that he's had on the sport. Like it's so hard to just encapsulate it all and do it justice, because there's just so much of it. And I think it's going to take a while to digest. Obviously, if, you know, he did say he's put in for a wild card at Fiji, and hopefully we get to see him there. And I don't think this will be his last. But it was such a surreal moment for sure.
As we look at the start here, Griff and Ramsey still waiting to open this one up. We've had some close heats throughout the day. John getting past Medina in the start of the round of 16. Sammy Puppo beating his older brother to move on to the quarterfinals. Griff wearing the yellow jersey now for the second time in his career, but he's never worn it so early as he has done this season. And coming off that injury, or surgery I should say, to his hip over the off season, wasn't doing a ton of surfing, but stayed focused on his ability to beat the best in the world. Pretty motivating for you, Cross, seeing your older brother leading the tour wearing bright yellow. You've got to be still pinching yourself as a family, seeing this moment right now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Just to see like all the hard work, and then even at the beginning of the year, like he went through that surgery, and the day I qualified in Brazil, he called me. I was like, oh, like I'm getting surgery. So it was kind of like a weird, like happy, sad moment. And I didn't really even think he'd be able to do like the first few events. And then for him to like come back and be in the yellow jersey now, it's just like pretty cool to see how much work he put in to get his hip better, and then come back and be strong and be surfing so good.
It's cool because you guys are really motivating each other, and obviously competitive, because that's got to be there as well. But I was just thinking of a storyline with the Hobgood brothers being matched up in Santa Cruz, and Damien needed a result, and CJ looked back at him. He's like, if anyone's going to knock you off this tour, it's going to be me. And that was just, everyone felt that through the area. It was pretty deep, you know, but yeah, sometimes that brotherly rivalry really creates some of the biggest moments in surfing history. Mm-hmm. Thinking about where you guys would be in that situation, how do you think that would unfold?
Oh man, Griffin and I are really close. I feel like we get along like really well. Like if we get into like a fight or a blow up, like it's pretty rare. But now that we're on tour, we've been staying together at like every event, so it's kind of been like there's been moments, a little more moments than usual that have happened. So it's a little funny, and yeah, it'd definitely be a bummer. You know, just watching the Puppos do that, it's not really fun to watch, and just. But I know they're brothers and they get along well, and he'll come back. So
it was interesting because I ran into Griff this morning, and he had a solo session yesterday, and he was just like, "Yeah, it was super rare because you guys have just been a team, like not just yourself but your whole crew." And I think you guys played golf yesterday, and
yeah.
Griff's just like, "Man, it was just really different surfing by myself." You guys are a pack these days.
Yeah. We usually don't miss sessions, but. I came back from golf and he went surfed, and I like instantly had FOMO that he got more waves than me or got clips, and I was just like, but that's how the brother dynamic works, and that's like what pushes us so much. And he surfs so much and is always like training and pushing me, so it's insane to have that.
Coming off bells, Cole Houshman getting the win with Griff in the final was a big one for your crew, for San Clemente, for California, and now we're looking at you and Cole from the rookie class from here on out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's a bummer we lost Cade and Eli and Wilcox, but I told Cole the other day, I was like, hey, now we're the only rookies, so it's going to be a fight for the Rookie of the Year, which is exciting. And we're kind of close in points. He got that win, which was really cool, and it's kind of how the Challengers started last year. Like, he won a contest, and I felt like it kind of made all of us realize that we can do it too. So it's just like, it's cool just having that like friend dynamic, and everyone's doing well like in the contest, just pushing each other.
What events coming up will you have the edge on Cole? You don't have to go there too,
yeah.
Unless you really want to put it out there. I want to get this nice friendly rivalry hot for the rest of the year. Watch this. Ramsey's going to get the first wave of heat number 3 of the round of 16. Connects with the backhand. Out in front again. There's a nice section to throw that backside snap, but he'll get caught up there. Good for one move. And this heat's finally getting started here, Flick.
Yeah, it's getting started, and you could just see that the boys were really jostling at the beginning of this heat. You know, there was a little bit of a paddle battle for that first wave. It seems like they were a little bit out of position because when Ramsey took off on that wave, he was pretty deep. He had to sort of pump a bit to get around the section, so maybe just a little bit awkward there, but we'll break this one down here. You can just see it now. Griff was maybe a little bit keen, or maybe just forcing him to go, knowing that he was a bit deep there, but you can see he gets caught, gets up into the lip here for this first turn, but the wave just sort of runs off without him, goes up here for this second turn, but the nose just picks there and get a fall.
Tough fall there for Ramsey. Yeah. Crosby, how much do you guys really focus in on the start of the heats, positioning, and how aggressive it can be on the CT kind of compared to the QS and the Challenger Series? What have you learned specifically this year?
I think the biggest thing for me at the start, for like starts of heats, like I was very on the Challengers. I felt like I always needed to like start on the inside, and now like I just kind of been like letting the start just happen and just trying to get like just surfing in the heat. But then if a good wave comes, then obviously like try and force the guy to be in a bad position to like not get a good score if it's like a crazy wave. But I'm still figuring it out. You know, the starts of the heats I think is like sometimes the hardest.
And then looking how Griffin handled that, do you think he did well letting Ramsey go on that wave?
Yeah, I think so. I think he kind of like got around him a little bit, maybe put a little bit of pressure on like to get him in a weird position where he's kind of stuck behind it in that first turn. So, but Griffin's like, he's pretty good at that stuff. And we actually had a funny battle in our heat at Bells together where we were like both like way up the point, and then he was trying to get me to go, and then I let him go, and it was a closeout, but it didn't matter because I had 2 twos at the end of the heat, so.
Everyone was just waiting for sets to come through in that matchup when you had your brother there, but I think, maybe the most entertaining could have been that start.
Yeah, it would have been fun if we were like going head-to-head, but it was still like pretty funny just being in heat with him, but yeah.
Well, you've got a whole year. Where would you want to see another battle against your brother?
Honestly, anywhere. Here goes Ramsey. Yeah, probably anywhere. It'd be cool to get like big barrels somewhere, you know, so we could both be like pushing each other, because it would probably be pretty entertaining because we'd probably be going on some pretty crazy waves. Pretty fun. Here goes Ramsey.
Ramsey now, nice snap, super clean, backside float, extends it to go to the distance for another vertical on the inside corner. Well done. Definitely one of the best backhands on tour. Love how powerful he is, but he can be light on his feet in those transitions. And even those little things, just extending that float to have an even smoother pace into his final hack there. 3-3-3 on Ramsey's opener. And that'll be his second scoring ride, Flick.
Yeah, this was a lot better. He cleaned up a couple of things. Positioning from the takeoff was a lot better. He obviously was exactly where he wanted to be when he took off on that wave, and he was able to go straight up into the lip. Looks like we're having a couple more lines start to roll through now, and Griff having a look out the back.
Griffin Colapinto, world number 1. Going for his first turn of the matchup. Hits it off the top, snaps it into the next section, a 2-turn combination. Showed a lot of patience to start on his opener, but also patience in between maneuvers there. Waited for the right time to unleash the top turn and then combos it up for his opening score. A Triple Crown champ, a guy that's looking to get back into the final here at Main Break. Finaled last year, runner-up to Medina. As we go to Ramsey's wave here, Flick.
Yeah, this was a lot better than that first wave, in my opinion. Beautiful little float there to get around this section. Wave gets pretty small and tapered, but he gets one more hit in there. And then out the back was Griff. And this was a 2-turn combo, but this was done really well. Just so much power and speed through that first carve, and then straight up into the lip for the second one. It gets a little bit of release on the fins there too. So this was a beautiful combination. Just see how much speed he held through that first turn. Didn't go all the way back because he could eye off this section here and wanted to go straight back up into the lip. And it's a hard thing to do when it's so offshore here in the morning, just to get that release on the fins and have confidence that you're going to come back down with the section. It's so easy to get caught up in the lip here when it's so offshore, so it was really well done.
Yep, that was nice.
Love it. Getting props from the younger bro, Griff Colapinto, world number 1. Trying to be a world champion once again this year. His whole goal was to be at his home break to compete for a world title. He did that last season. Ended up losing to Ethan Ewing and finished number 3 in the world. Had the surgery on his hip in the off season. Got back in the water and found himself in surfing at a high level. As we look at the scores from Griffin start, a 6.67. Last of Ramsey, a 5.0. Ramsey out front with 2 scores, but Griffin with the best wave of the heat so far, Flick.
Yeah, and different approaches. Ramsey took off on that wave. It was a bit smaller. It was more of an inside wave. Griff going now.
Griffin feeling the flow state. Driving off the bottom, connects with the lip line well. Wrapping cut back to find the flow. Oncoming section, snap to slide. Good read there for world number 1. Nice composure. Nice variety as well, Cross.
He's looking good. He looks good, yeah.
Looks like he's finding a nice rhythm, nice patience. Definitely seems very confident right now as we focus on the season that Griffin's had so far. Already 6th on the top 34. Picking up an event win, feeling good about that. Over in Portugal, you guys were both doing really well. A fantastic showcase of talent there. And almost had an all-brother matchup, but you got a third, losing to Ethan Ewing. There was a lot of cool California vibes coming on that finals day, Cross.
Yeah, that was super fun. We had Marshall there too. He got a quarters, so that was pretty cool. But it was so close to being a brother final, which we've like dreamed of, and we watched like so many like the irons do it and stuff, and the Hobgoods and stuff. So just watching like that and almost making it happen. Here's the replay, but.
What'd you see on this one, Flick?
Yeah, this was smart. Griff just backing up that 6.67 straight away, 3-turn combo. It was just smart surfing and really fast straight after that 6.67. It's a little bit of a smaller wave, but he had nice variety here. And I just love, I feel like it's so evident in Griff's surfing right now, just the flow between the turns. And it just is so easy to watch, that connectivity. And I feel like it's just a cut above the rest in my eyes. Like it's just his surfing looks so smooth and calculated, and there's limited bauble, if that makes sense, in between the maneuvers. It's just really pleasing on the eye.
Yeah, there's something about just your stance and your glide and your presentation on a wave. You know, when Griffin glides in, you can see it in Ethan Ewing as well.
Yes, yeah.
That real world-class, world title contender type. The lines that you take are really cool to really identify even in between the big turns, Cross.
No, yeah, it's exciting to see that. Like, I feel like everyone kind of transitions into like maturing in their surfing, you know, like just noticing Griffin when he first got on tour, he looks like a whole different person from then to now, and kind of same with Ethan Ewing. Dolphins going through the lineup, that's pretty cool.
Oh, dolphins in the water, Kaipo, how cool does it look out there?
It's insane. The Dolphins just did a little swim by, little good morning to both the competitors. I just want to talk a little bit about the playing field out here, what's happening with conditions. Wind switching a little bit more northeast. I feel it's going to continue to clock a little bit from the northerly direction, and positioning on the reef. A little bit of a filling in tide right now, Joe. And so the surfers, Griffin and Ramsey, they're sitting further in on the reef than we saw at the start of the morning with Gabe and with John. So a little bit more repositioning. The surfers are heads up on that. And the wind to the back of the surfers right now, cross offshore.
Thank you so much, Kaipo. I always get a little nervous on that northerly direction flick.
Northerly direction and high tide approaching.
Ooh.
And ever so slightly dropping swell. Could get a little bit interesting, and I like what Kipe said. Obviously, these guys right now have repositioned a little bit. They're sitting further in on the reef, and I feel like that's a smart gameplay, because I think these lulls and that inconsistency might, you know, increase throughout the morning.
13:35 on the clock. World number one, Colapinto in the lead with a 6.67 and a 5.4. Ramsey chasing a 7.07 to try to get in the quarterfinals. We'll be right back.
Interviewer.
11:45 to go. Grip still out front over Ramsey Buayam, as we'll have a chance to catch up with Sammy Puppo on the glass with Stace Galbraith.
Sammy, a massive moment for the family. Did you want to say hello to your mum and dad in Portuguese? I'm sure they're tuning in and they want to hear from you.
Oi, mãe, pai. Desculpa, não tô conseguindo falar direito. Sem ele não estaria nem perto de onde eu tô hoje. Então, para mim, essa vitória foi longe de ser uma vitória, assim, porque tudo que ele fez por mim a vida inteira, para nossa família, para todo mundo. não tem preço. Por isso que para mim é tão difícil, porque sem ele talvez eu nem estaria aqui, então é difícil esse momento. Então eu devo tudo a ele. Acho que é isso.
And in English, tell us how much Miguel has done for you, and obviously surfing alongside him has been a massive privilege for you.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's just without him, I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am now. Like literally, maybe I wouldn't be surfing. So, just for me to be in this position, it's all because of him, and to get him off tour, it's just feel like a loss really for me. But I'm sure he's really strong. He's gonna come back. I just got out of the water smiling, and it looks like he was the guy that won the heat. But that just shows how strong he is, and but it still hurts so much.
Thanks for your time, Sammy.
Heartbreaking moment for young Sammy Puppo, looking up to his big brother, getting himself in this position to be a championship tour athlete. I just having flashbacks of watching young Sammy Puppo shadowing Miguel years back on the championship tour, and Miguel would just always go, "Look at my brother, he's coming, he's coming." So much love there. And for him to have the heat that sent Miguel to the Challenger Series is just too much. It's overwhelming, and just thanks so much for Sammy to show up like that for that chat. It's got to be heartbreaking for him to transition into the next round. Catching up to the left here from Griffin Colapinto. Ended up losing the handle in transition there, but identifying a left as an opportunity, trying to build on a low score of a 5.4 with 8:10 on the clock.
Yeah, going left right now with that north. Right into the left at main break here, so you can even see right now there's a lot more texture on the water since the early heat this morning, and yeah, things are going to get a bit hard. I just got to go back to that post-heat interview. It's just so difficult to watch. I really, really feel for both brothers. I feel for Sammy. I just can't even comprehend like how that would feel. And I guess like, I mean, you could probably relate better than anyone, Crosby. Like, how did that make you feel?
That was, yeah, damn, that was an emotional one. That was making me emotional.
Yeah.
You know, and then even the other day being right there for Cade and Eli, and watching Cade come in and him being like so close to get the score and then him not making it, like I was crying because it was just like, damn, like you lose your best friend, being able to hang with your best friend on tour, a couple of best friends, and then your brother too. Like that's just it's crazy, but it's the sport we signed up for, so yeah. It's exciting for sure, and it just makes us who we are. So.
Right, I really enjoyed reading Jacob Wilcox's post on social media. The way he kind of laid it all out there was really powerful, you know, and saying, "Snapper, I'm coming for you." But before then, not being a victim of the system and just keeping his head up and solid and moving forward. It's like there is perspective there, and
yeah.
In looking at the Challenger Series and the waves you do get to surf, and the opportunity to make yourself better coming around the corner, the examples of Cianca, Molly Picklum, Leo Fioravanti, the people that have gone through it to come back stronger, that's there. I mean, the words are all there too, but the emotion's real. How much you guys put into your craft, how all the hard work in the off season, the build up to being on this tour, and then to have it feel like it's just gone, that could take a while to recover from.
Yeah, no, it's a funny one too, because you're also dealing with like the ocean that's so unpredictable, and it's always just throwing you so many different signs and things. But Griffin looks like he wants to go for an air.
Here it comes.
And he kicks out.
But Griffin's ability in the air is insane.
Yeah.
Forehand, I remember when he first got on tour, he kind of had those Felipe type pumps where he could chuck them into the flats like 5 feet out. Backside as well, he's gotten a perfect score in Europe effort, doing crazy full rotation. So love for him to get another chance there.
Yeah.
Ramsey's built quite a career for himself, and talk about never giving up after about a decade of trying to qualify. He finally got it done. November 2022, qualifies at the Hurley Challenger, hurts himself in the morning of on opening day at backdoor, and wasn't able to make his rookie debut. Back to the Challenger Series. Then at the end of last year, towards the fall, got announced as the replacement, so it's out of his hands, and if there's injuries, he'd get the first call up. And then with Chianca getting hurt at Pipeline, he was able to get a start. It's not over yet. He's still got to get points to make the cut. He's officially done that for Morocco, so what a warrior. What a last couple of years dealing with those injuries that could have changed this whole story, but never say die attitude. We see Ramsey on tour all year and even the start of next year as well.
I was literally about to say that. Just such a great example of never say die. And I think someone else that comes to mind is Jacob Wilcox too. You know, it took him 10 years to crack it basically on the qualifying series, Challenger Series. I remember even when I was on the qualifying series, Ramsey was there, and we're similar in age, and just to see how resilient he is to just keep coming back. And I feel like when you've been on the qualifying series for that long, it can really wear away at you, and I feel like you can start to maybe lose confidence in what you're doing and self-belief, and like, hey, like, do I really deserve to be here? Like, I've been going at this for so long, and you start scratching your head and you're like, oh, do I give it up? Do I hang up my boots? Like, and so it's just so inspiring to see him. Well, he qualified, and then, I mean, you qualify for the tour, you've been taking 10 years to do it, and then injured before the first event even starts. Like, I can't fathom that, and what that would do to your mindset. And I'm just so happy that he has got a start back here as that replacement surfer and doing well.
Ramsey has that wow factor when he hits the lip, when he really engages his rail. People kind of all move in the competitors area. He's that surfer that built on power-based approach. What do you love about his act on tour, Cross?
Well, just having him around the event's just really good, because he's just a character of a human. You know, he's always like, he's just a goofy person. But then just his surfing too is incredible. Like his backhand, I don't know, like his technique and his timing with the lip is unbelievable with how much water he throws and his big frame. And yeah, he's a good surfer, and it's good to have good surfers on tour.
It's cool to hang with his family over in Portugal, especially because he was on a roll. His best result on tour is that quarterfinal he had in Portugal, and you could tell he fed off that family type support, you know, from Morocco, but moved over to Europe through the junior series to get a lot of reps with the jersey on. So it's like a second home to him, just being in the European beach breaks. Now down to 2:30 on the clock. Ramsey does have priority. He needs a 7.07 to upset world number one. Griffin's two keepers are better than what Ramsey has on screen. That's why Ramsey needs that 7.07 to move on. Free from the worry of the cut. Ramsey definitely wants to move deeper in the ranks to get closer to the WSL Final Five. Both these surfers competing in the Olympic Games this year. Ramsey working hard through Puerto Rico to make that happen now for the second time in his career. And Griffin representing the United States of America with a teammate named John Florence in Tahiti.
Oh, wow. I mean, Team USA is looking really good, isn't it? I can't wait to see both those surfers out. Obviously can't wait to see John. He's so good in the barrel. But Griff too, I mean, Griff absolutely charges. Like every time Pipe's big or backdoor's big, I just see clips on social media, and when we've seen it in the event too, but that Team USA is going to be hard to beat.
Down to 1:20 on the clock. You can see Griffin with his positioning without priority. Crosby, what do you think your brother's intentions are there with where he's sitting?
I mean, he's in second prio now, so I think all he can do is just like let the ocean do what it needs to do and just trust it. So it's kind of like, if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And maybe if a set comes, hopefully there's a second wave. But it looks like maybe there's a wave coming. So
yeah, from up here on the bluff, you see so many lines coming through, and you're wondering if this one's gonna really line up in the takeoff zone. Ramsey looks a little bit more motivated, paddling hard to get in position now. It's already capping out the back. He's going to have to punch through.
Whoa.
Just a little bit out of reach. And nothing left for him on the other side. And that's a frustrating moment, seeing a one-wave set just out of reach, Flick.
Oh, with 48, there was 48 seconds on the clock, and we could see it. There was this one swell line moving through the lineup, and just so unfortunate for him to be out of position there. But on the other hand, Griff's probably like, wow, that, I was really, you know, happy that he was out of position there. He just...
Yeah, that's... Wow. They're such good friends, too, so it's like... kind of probably hard to beat your friends, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you could see the smile from Ramsey as well.
Yeah.
Great sportsman. Griffin, world #1 in the quarters. And Ramsey will start preparing for Tahiti, the next stop on the championship tour. Coming up next in the round of 16, George Patar, the wild card, taking on Liam O'Brien, who's thinking about a top 10 position moving into the next stop. Hanging out with Crosby for that one as well. Be right back.
The Western Australia Margaret River Pro WSL Australia by Bioglan, official vitamin partner of the WSL Australia. By Boost Mobile, official telecommunication partner of WSL Australia. And by Shire of Augusta Margaret River. Proud to support the Western Australia Margaret River Pro, which celebrates the epic local surfing culture of this region.
Round of 16, heat #4, just getting started. George Patar, a wild card from Manly Beach, up on the Gold Coast these days to take advantage of the high-performance centers in Australia. And also Liam O'Brien, a class act from that region. The Gold Coast, Burley Heads, you think Snapper Rocks around the corner, a lot of dreamy right-hand point breaks, and one of the coolest styles in the game. They're fighting for a spot into the quarterfinals. Joe Turpel with Felicity Palmatier and Crosby Colapinto here for the call. Griff just got the jump in the quarters, which makes you think about keeping the yellow jersey with John moving on. He's #3 in the world. Ethan Ewing has Seth Moniz a little bit later. He's world #2. Jack Robinson's bumped up to 4th in the live rankings. He's got Italo coming up in the last heat of this round. And you got Jake Marshall, #5 in the world on the live rankings, taking on Imai Kalani DeVault. So that top 5 picture still solid here in the round of 16, and a couple already in the quarters as we see a paddle for this one. George left behind. That wave just didn't want him.
I'd say high tide. They're just going to hold that little bit up on the reef. Waves are going to start pushing into that little bit further, and it is a slightly decreasing swell. High tide, and then we've got that northerly, which you can kind of see it's creating like little rivets and a little bit more texture on the face of the waves. You see when the sets start to roll through the lineup too, it's almost like it has a little warble through it, and that's because of that northerly. So it is a little bit it's trickier than what it looks, I think, this morning. I think the webcast does a great job at making it look easier than what it is.
George Patar, he's building his profile. Cross, you guys were on the Challenger Series last year together. Had some great surfing at Bells, getting the call up again at main break. Did you get to know the guy last year traveling around the world?
Yeah, a little bit. I kind of got to know him, and then more of like going to Bells, and he was in Hawaii and stuff. Got to hang with him a little bit, and he's really cool, and his surfing's pretty good to watch. So.
Yeah, really inspiring story as well, coming from Vanuatu, learning to surf on a perfect right, and then moving to Manly Beach, then moving up the coast to really develop himself as a world-class athlete. But I noticed that he really understands surfing incredibly well at a high level. He was standing next to J. Bottle Thompson, and they're watching the waves. His reactions to throwing scores down and updating a situation that he was watching was unbelievable. He was rapid fire with already making his game plan from the bluff, and all these little insights that he was noticing. He's going to be a great commentator one day.
Well, we had him in the booth during Bells for a couple of heats, and I was really blown away with just how much the maturity that he brought to the booth, and for like beyond his years, really. Just the way he analysed certain situations, and this was after he'd been knocked out and had that really close heat with Ethan, where, you know, some people were saying afterwards, oh, you know, you could have got the win or whatever, but the way he talked about it just had so much maturity, and yeah, I was impressed. I was like, this kid's a smart kid, he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he obviously surfs amazingly as well. He's going to go far. We saw Liam kind of start his career with a wild card as well. He made a semi-final over at Wajamup or Rottnest Island. Crosby, you got wild cards before you were on tour full time. Did you feel a big difference, you know, as a wild card compared to being a full-time competitor as far as pressure or being able to do your best surfing?
Yeah, for sure. I think when I was getting the wild card spots, I just felt like I was kind of young, and, you know, just I didn't really have like the belief in myself, and I kind of just felt like I was just like there as a wild card and didn't really like believe I could do well in the contest. So it just felt way different doing that than being on tour, and I kind of was getting a couple wild card spots, and after that I was kind of just like, I just want to get my own spot and be there from like making it and like deserving it.
And that made you feel like you belonged?
Yeah.
Because it looks that way.
Yeah, definitely just going through the challengers and making it on your own is definitely gives you the belief, for sure.
Little waves on the way here. Loving seeing these lines on the horizon. Taking this wave to start off the heat is Liam O'Brien. He's been in the 9s at main break in his last event where he eliminated Kelly Slater. Throwing down a turn and slipping off and falling. Liam O'Brien incomplete. Let's see if the wild card will make him pay for that. Wow. Clean rail work from George Patar. Wow. Lights up the lip again. Big vertical passing O'Brien, and looks like he's gonna throw everything at the finish. His only mistake on the fall.
Oh, wow.
But sometimes it's so hard to blame him for falling on that end section, one of the toughest sections in the world to finish on your feet with the bricks showing up.
Yeah, it was a tough section, but I think he's still going to get a great score regardless if he fell or not, because those first 3 turns before that were so solid, so big. He threw so much spray. Obviously, it would have gone higher if he'd made that last turn, but I loved it.
Yeah, I think that's some of the best surfing we've seen today.
Yeah.
By far, like so clean and so smooth, but just his first turn was so clean. And straight into his second one was also super clean, and then pretty good snap for that section. And then I liked how he pushed it there. Just, I mean, he's a wild card, why not, you know?
But the flow between the first 2 points were incredible, and then seeing Liam and then the section kind of running, he did that really well right there.
Yeah, he did. I think that was a really well-placed turn. These first 2 carving maneuvers, though, this was big. Wow. And I feel like he was able to do it because the wave was so clean. This first one that came through, Liam went, and there's so much lump, so much bump. There was rivets. He really had to wait for his first turn. This was the second wave. Obviously, that first one made this wave face so clean. And I agree with you, Cross. I think that this was probably the best surf wave we've seen all morning. It just was really beautiful to watch. Wow. Watch out, Liam. Yeah, it was really beautiful to watch. And if he just made this last turn here, I think we were all wanting him to. like the nose of the board just got a bit stuck there.
So tough fall there, but did some incredible surfing all the way through until the fall happened. Scores coming through for George. A 9-point ride. Kaipo, how did that wave look for you?
Yeah, that's a 9. That's a 9 all day. It was so much different from what I've seen so far this morning. The pace of the surfing was just a tad bit quicker, and the acute angles that George was putting into his turns were super impressive. Immediately seeing it from the water, I knew, wow, that was something special, and the judges just recognized that as well, Joe.
What a pace and what a view that Kaipo has. And even without the finishing move, judges saw enough to deem it incredible surfing. Excellent starts from 8 to 10, and getting a 9 off the panel is a big statement, Flick.
Oh, it's a massive statement. And just to not even make that last turn, I mean, where would that have gone if he had made that? It was beautiful surfing and just another excellent number. Like, he's dropped excellent scores at Bells. He's already had excellent numbers here in his last heat against Cole as well. So he's well and truly making this mark on the World Tour right now.
It's a big deal when you get a 9 from a CT judges scale, you know, at these world-class waves, to build your confidence through round after round, knowing that your surfing coming from the Challenger Series is worthy of being on tour.
Yeah, that's definitely a confidence booster right there for sure. And then he's going straight to snapper after this event too, so that'll be nice. Just to have that 9 and be like, okay, I can get scores on the CT is pretty nice. So that's pretty cool, and just, yeah, his technique on those waves, like his upper body torque in those cars is pretty fun to watch.
When you see CT surfers go to the Challenger Series, they can kind of lean into their profile being a bit bigger. They could be that alpha going to the locker room. I remember Leo Fioravanti did that so well. When he went off tour, he actually, I think, acknowledged it, knowing that, hey, I've been there. I've been on the stage that everyone's trying to get to in this heat draw. And he kind of leaned into that alpha, checking in. There was intimidation just by looking at him. Some guy coming in with so much confidence off the Dream Tour. You know, George is a wild card, but man, everyone he's competing against is watching this moment now, seeing him light up the screen with a 9-point ride with a fall and to set the pace against Liam O'Brien.
Oh, it's just an amazing start to a heat too. I mean, a textbook, if you could think about any way you wanted to open up your heat, you'd take a 9 any day. And things are looking really good. I mean, it's going to give him so much confidence. And it looks like he's having another look here on this inside wave.
Paddling hard, doesn't catch up to it. George trying to make a quarterfinal appearance as a wild card. We saw Morgan Siblick do some damage as a wild card back at Bells Beach. Ellie Harrison on the women's side making a big statement, knocking out Tyler Wright. The wild cards are always so effective in haunting the world title showdown. Jay Davies in the past here, representing WA. Took out Medina and Mick Fanning over at the box on that dramatic day. Let's now hear from world number 1 on the glass, Griffin Colapinto's with Stace.
Thanks, Joe. Griff on the sideline, Crosby in the booth. Griffin, he thought you could have pushed a little harder on the opening turn on the 667. I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
I mean, I could have, but there weren't many waves out there, so, you know, you risk falling on one of the only set waves that comes through and then put yourself in a bad position. You know, I could push on the next few waves, so still a rookie, Cross.
I love it, Griff. That's the formula that you've really worked hard on this year, finding that balance between high risk and reward.
Yeah, for sure, totally. Like, more like the inside ones, like that's when you can kind of like time to push it under priority, and then it's just days like this, you know, you never know like how many opportunities you're gonna get, so you don't want to, it's just such a fine line, you know, you need to, it's more like in the free surfs, you know, getting used to being able to just like push hard on every wave, and that just becomes the norm, and then, you know, you don't want to be like trying backflips first section, so.
You're the team captain of that massive house that you're staying at. What does your leadership look like? Have you got an ethos that you're living by?
Yeah, it's just, well, at the start of the trip, my brother was all on my case calling me the dictator, and I got kind of eggy, and I was like, dude, stop calling me that. And then I think I was probably maybe, you know, bossing my brother around a little too much and, you know, just trying to help, but I think it wasn't working. And then so I was like, okay, I need to lead by example, not say anything, just do. So that's the plan now.
Do as I say, and as I do. World number 1, Griffin Colapinto, into the quarters. Thanks, Griff.
Yes,
Well done, Griff. Crosby, anything to say for yourself?
Well, at least you can admit it.
Did you really call him the dictator?
Yeah, I was calling him the dictator for a little bit. Chris Pitter. Wow, this guy's locked in right now.
Here's George, winding up, snap to slide. He will sink there, but provides a second score to back up the 9-point ride that he threw down earlier. So I'm liking it. A little insights from the vibe at the house.
Yeah, because at the start of the year, he was like saying that he's the team captain, which he is. You know, he's been on tour more than us, and he's kind of the one who's guiding all of us. And then this trip, he was saying some things that was like, you guys got to do this and that. And then I just was like, it was definitely like probably a little bit of like ego versus ego, you know. But then I kind of just started calling him the dictator, and then he like came up to me. He like tapped me. He's like, hey, like, I don't really like that you're calling me the dictator. And I was like, oh, all right, I'll stop. And then that was kind of like a funny little incident.
I love it.
That's just like brothers traveling together. You know, we've been together for like 3 months now. So, but it's just funny.
I love it.
Stories.
Well, that's a cool insight to the energy. You guys always bring the fun factor as well. Back to George's wave here, Flick.
Yeah, that first opening carve, like Crosby said it too, was looking really good, but he just fell victim to that end section again. Basically did that right on dry reef. But right here, I mean, this is looking so good. Like he placed that carving maneuver so well, so you couldn't have been any higher on the wave. It just looked really beautiful. Threw so much spray. And then he really waited for that end section, but just fell again. Got to back up though, 3-5. So Liam needs a combination of scores to get himself out of hot water.
That's right, still plenty of time. Liam's done well here in the past, and a 12.5 combination. Still have plenty of time to break that one down. Let's get some insight from legendary shaper Britt Merrick with Richie Lovett.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. With Britt Merrick from Channel Island Surfboard here. Always love picking your brain. Let's start with the board that George Pitter is riding, the 2-point pro. What are the characteristics of this one, Britt?
Yeah, you know, it's just a simple, clean, not too fussy, high-performance shortboard. It kind of tries to just get out of the way of the surfers. That's my goal with this one. It's just under their feet and glued there. Loves to hold a rail, and that's kind of what we're seeing with George's surfing is you put the thing on rail and it just wants to stay there.
We've talked about some of the design elements of the boards. Let's get on to some fin education here. A lot of the surfers on the tour, both Futures and FCS riders, have been leaning into this fiberglass fin technology versus the RTM fins with a core or a hex core inside them. What's the difference between the solid fiberglass and the molded fins?
Yeah, look, the thing about fiberglass is for surfers, it feels real natural, right? A lot of what we already have under our feet with the surfboard is a fiberglass, so it's a very familiar flex. I think it feels positive. I think that when you have a fiberglass fin and a fiberglass board, there's like a connectivity to the flex that makes a lot of sense. And so I just think it feels like in our DNA natural.
And the Almeric template that you guys have been running for years and years now, what's so special about it? It has that slightly smaller center fin. What does that do?
Yeah, it just seems to be the right balance, you know, between rake and enough area. And then the smaller fin, the front fins with the rake provide enough drive, and the smaller fin provides a release out of the lip. And my dad developed that fin surfing ring com, which is just what you want. You want down the line drive and then just release at the right moment. And it just seems to work.
Looks like it's working for George Pitter, guys. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Richie. Great to hear from Britt Merrick. An incredible shaper. Mentioned his dad there, Al Merrick, who began one of the biggest brands we've ever seen in surfing, Channel Island Surfboards. Developing great fin designs, great equipment, making boards for world titles from Kelly to Lisa Anderson, Sofia Milanovic, Adriana de Souza. We can go on, but it's really cool that Britt's had this big presence here at most of the events these days on tour with waves on the way. Paddling into this one, Liam O'Brien looking to break the combination. Cool arc to start. Great transition, attacks the next section and stays on his feet. Combination will be broken there, but George is going to try to put him back in one. Smooth off the bottom. Patar lays into a beautiful wrapping turn, covering a lot of the open face.
Beautifully done again. Just so well timed, and I feel like it was only the one turn from George, as we see a bit of a paddle battle happening right now. Liam is going so hard, trying to establish priority. But yeah, it was only the one single turn from George, but the wave face was so clean. It just looked so beautiful to watch. And then if I think back to Liam's wave, looks like he's kind of got the jump right now, actually, on George. Are we going to make it out to the lineup just before him, I'd say? But yeah, Liam's two-turn combo was really, really, really nice. Wasn't an easy wave to surf either. You could see there was a lot of rivet, some texture on the face of that wave, and yeah, it would have been hard. This is the wave now. And take it through, Crosby.
Yeah, this first car was really nice, super clean, and then straight into this one. Nothing crazy on the finish turn, but nice clean surfing, so I think it'll be a pretty decent score. Yeah, that was really nice.
His form is just absolutely incredible. And then the read there for the combination, 2 different types of turns to get there. His turns look so fitting for every section. They never look forced, like he's trying to overperform. As we then go to the big car from George Flick.
Yeah, this wave face just straight away so smooth, but he just held that rail just that little bit longer on this carving maneuver. You can just see the wave face here. This is just, it's just not a drop of water out of place right now. It's that second wave of the set. You can see he just held that rail for just that little bit longer, threw so much spray. I think he might improve on that 3.5.
Yeah.
Here he goes again, the wild card, George Patar from Manly Beach, laying down that classic forehand carve, and then snaps the next section, lays back into the finish. That's been giving him some trouble. Even with his 9, he fell in the finish. His 3.5, he went down, but he's done so much damage before that final move. He's getting big scores. It reminded me of Michel Perez when he won this event in 2014. A lot of his waves, he actually fell on the last turn, but he was so powerful every other point, it didn't matter. With the fall there, George still gets, or excuse me, instead that's a 5.67 on that single maneuver.
Wow.
The wave before, as we watch his last one again.
Yeah, you could just see he just looks in such good form. He's nailing these first 2 sections, has it on lock, but for the 3rd time here, brings it through to the inside, and he's just not having a good time there. Just, you can see it, he's so frustrated. But these first 2 maneuvers, he's got them on lock, the timing's perfect. Maybe it's timing, there's just something that he's just not quite clicking on this inside. Maybe went a little bit too hard there, but I did think that that single maneuver was going to come in higher than that 3.5, and it did. So 5.67 for the one turn. That's really positive.
Yeah, that's another confidence booster right
there.
Just 5.67. But his cars are very unique. You know, he's turning at the very top of the wave. Like, it's looking like half of his board is out of the water at the very top of the wave. So just to see that it's kind of like a unique, different carve on a wave, and looks kind of frustrated right there.
Oh.
George Patar on quite a roll in the last 2 events, keeping his focus on his heat strategy and doing incredibly well to battle with Liam O'Brien, both chatting a lot with J. Bottle Thompson. Liam doing some great things on tour this year, known as a fearless charger when it comes to heavy water waves, but still incredible in smaller conditions, and we saw that at Winky Pop, throwing huge rail hooks in 1 to 2 foot surf, and then can transition to bigger waves with the same style and flow. O'Brien chasing an 8.01 now. He's out of the combo, 6.67 on his last. George Patar, the wild card, still way out in front with a 9 and a 5.67. We'll take a Bonsoy brew break. Back for more of the round of 16 right after this.
I cannot explain. Talking to myself. Will I see again? Is it real now? Could you be become walking on a dream?
We are definitely walking on a dream when we're here in Western Australia. Always love this stop. Stop number 5 of the World Surf League Championship Tour. We heard the announcement just the other day that we'll be here all the way through 2028. We're coming back again and again to just love the surf, love the vineyards, the local produce, the caves, this rugged natural beauty. Flick's so lucky to call it home. I was thinking about you, Cross. I mean, you're so focused on heats and keeping your spot up on tour, but we've had some lay days. Have you had a chance to kind of look around the corner on land and have some fun?
Yeah, we've been having fun on the lay days. We hit a winery one day, so that was pretty nice. Just got to taste the wine and taught you how to like swig it around, you know, and smell it. So pretending like we know wine now, so it's pretty fun. But also just like golfing and then jumping in the water. It's been every day has been like so beautiful. There hasn't been the best ways, but it's just been nice to almost just like chill, and every day is like so hot and gorgeous and the water's warm, so yeah.
Hit the reset button.
Yeah, the reset button's been hit for sure. And you know, Snake's always saying West is best, and you know, so it's true.
It is true. You're feeling it. You're living it.
Yeah.
It's one of those places where when you get a lay day, no one's complaining because there's always something waiting for you here in the West. A lot of fun, a lot of great people guiding you in the right direction. And we have some big news coming in from the commissioner's office. With 8 minutes to go, this will be the last heat of the day. So round of 16, heat number 4 will be it, and we will actually have the rest of the day to go check out what WA has to offer and come back in tomorrow to see what we could be doing for the rest of this round. Also for the women already in the quarterfinals. Sunday still looking really promising. In your opinion, Flick, looking at the forecast?
I think we'll be coming down here for a call and for a look tomorrow morning, just in case there is anything on offer. It is supposed to be a little bit smaller, but Sunday is shaping up to be, in my opinion, a really good finals day. Maybe the best day of the waiting period so far.
Here comes George without priority, up and out. Has the 9 and a 5.67. Those scores remain the same. Liam with priority and still needs an 8.01 in this last heat of the day. Winner moves on to take on Griffin Colapinto in the quarterfinals. And what a statement that would be for George if he could get that done as a wild card. Not a full-time competitor yet on tour. We've had all wild card finals in the past. It's really rare. You go back to Tahiti, Bruno Santos beating Manoa Drolet. Go to Pipeline back in the late 90s, Michael Ho, Johnny Boy Gomes. It's a rare one to have an all wild card final, but even just a wild card finalist, we talk the stories of Bells with Adam Robertson. When someone could just come out of the woods and take on the tour, it's a pretty big statement and really cool to see how many talented surfers there are in the world. George, a different one because he's very competitive. He's getting reps all the time. So he's building to this moment. And that's why he's such a scary draw, because he's surfed in a lot of heats, Cross.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be a scary draw. You know, if Griffin draws him in the quarters, is like in the yellow jersey. I mean, I'm sure there'd be a little bit of pressure, but Griff's pretty locked in right now. But Georgia also has nothing to lose, but this heat's also not over. So, but yeah, George as a wild card's definitely making a name right now.
I suppose I asked you about hanging out with George and getting to know him. What about Liam O'Brien?
Yeah, I know Liam a good amount. Yeah, I've hung with him in Hawaii. You know, when he's at the Billabong house and Griffin was on Billabong, we were hanging a lot, and he's just a classic guy. You know, he's got his big fro and he's pretty mellow, and then he goes out and he just like puts everything into a turn. You know, like you almost don't even expect it when you like talk to him because he's so mellow, but he has such a polished style and has a lot of like just raw, you know, to the surfing.
Yeah, different ways to share how competitive you are, aren't there? There's the quiet kind of can't get a read off a human like Liam. He looks so casual, kind of like a John. And then others, you can tell when the heat starts, they're out for blood.
For sure, and I think it just comes down to a personality thing. You know, everyone brings something different to the tour, and you know, someone who's really entertaining or entertained me over the years is Italo. Just with, you know, he doesn't really have a poker face. I mean, whatever he's feeling, you are witnessing it too, and you're feeling it with him. And a great example was that other day when he made that heat, and you could just see how much it meant to him, and you know, the emotions and the way he was displaying all of that after the heat was pretty incredible to watch.
It was, yeah. It's so cool to see how people handle themselves and what kind of profile they build for themselves as well. Crosby, you've got one of the coolest YouTube channels going right now.
Oh, thank you.
Gosh, it's entertaining.
Thank you. Yeah, we got our friend Shane Kreutzer helping us with that, making some nice edits. So it's cool just to make edits and just put them out, and you know, just put them out for younger kids to watch them and get inspired to do what we're doing and stuff. And it's also cool just to have it there, so when we're older we can look back at it and just enjoy times. It looks like Griffin's doing his deal right now, maybe getting a couple numbers. He loves doing this stuff, but that was classic. Yeah, I think we got Pitter going.
Here comes George. Driving off the bottom. Oh, cool connection there. A combination of turns in a short space. That down carve he has is so heavy with points. He got a 5, 6, 7 for one version of that. This one a bit of a combo. We'll see if that's enough to improve his low score. And Liam still holding priority, looking for an excellent number. But he's got that big forehand hook. That's that CT type carve. Let's take another look, Flick.
Oh, he has got this first turn on lock, just so beautiful. And I like what you said before, Croz. He just gets so high in the lip. Like, I don't think you could actually place this turn any higher than what he does. Like, any higher, you're blowing out the fins, and it's just the pace and the timing to this is impeccable. You can't get the board any higher on a carving maneuver than that.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible to watch.
And just to do that without sliding out, it's very, like, so impressive. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that comes from his like upper body torque, you know, because he's such a long, tall kid, you know. So it's like, I feel like when he torques it and he keeps his lower body that still, like, I feel like that's what really helps him. But
I guess you can relate to that. So being a tall frame yourself.
Yeah.
Use that to your advantage. Yeah, 6'9" Cross.
Wow.
Liam O'Brien now needs a 9.23. Using your height to an advantage, especially with big open face carves. That is absolutely brilliant. I think sometimes you get little comparisons to a young Jordy. Do you like that?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Jordy's such a great surfer. So that's a sick comparison.
Especially because you can go to the air with style, also get a lot out of the scale just on the open face. That's everything you'd want on the CT.
Oh yeah, when you come to the CT too, you gotta have like the full package. You know, it's pretty crazy just to see like the best guys and what they're doing and how many different types of turns they have in events, and to do it in a jersey is like something else.
Down to 90 seconds for Liam O'Brien to find a 9.23. We saw a 9 in this seat. That's a direct comparison, Flick. But it'd be saying something if you can get it done in the final minute.
Oh, you're definitely saying something. I guess good news is obviously, you know, depending on, doesn't matter what the conditions are like, there always is 10s out there, right? The judging is, you know, relative to the conditions, but things are looking a bit hard. They're looking a little bit grim, and it kind of looks like there's a few lines maybe on the horizon, but I feel like they're swinging too much to the north, and I feel like they're just going to end up in the channel. I hope Liam gets one more opportunity here, but he is sitting out there with priority too, so I guess, like, you know, that's working in his favor. But I'm just so impressed with George, and once again, just another heat on the CT, just so dominant, and at this stage it's looking like he's moving through.
We're making some wild card statements in the last few events. João Duru in Portugal getting to finals day in the quarters. Siblick was really fun to watch back at Bells, and now George Patar is 20 seconds away from feeling a championship tour quarterfinal for the first time in his career before he sets his sights on the Challenger Series. A 9 and a 6.9. getting scores without priority as well. Single maneuver carves at a 5.67, and he will knock out world number 10 and continue on into the final series at the Western Australia Margaret River Pro. Massive one there for George.
Oh, what a statement. What a statement. And like what you said, Crosby, just to know that you can get a 9 in a World Tour event, it's just going to be such a confident booster for him. I think this is like his third excellent score since Bells, because he had that 8 at Bells. He had an 8 in his last heat against Cole, and now a 9 in this one. It's just a testament to his surfing, and he has just got that opening carve on lock. It's just so beautiful to watch, and beyond his years, I feel like just very mature surfing.
I agree. And also solid surfing from you, Cross, all year long. I know you'll be backing your brother in this event as he's in the quarterfinals. Always a pleasure hanging out with you, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Fun getting in the booth.
When's the next episode on Cola Bros coming out on your YouTube channel?
Margaret River.
This will be the next one?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Is it true that your filmer was like a professional freestyle walker?
He was a professional Hurley blader. You know
No
the
way.
Hurleys?
With the wheels on your shoes.
Oh,
Like,
no
yeah,
way.
they have the wheels like on the bottom of your shoes, and he would like do like stairs and like grind rails and
No
stuff.
That is
way.
amazing.
You could search them up. Shane
Maybe-
Kreutzer.
Can we put that in the Cola Bros maybe soon?
Well,
Just like
yeah.
one clip? or-
Yeah, we have to.
Credits?
We got to bring him back. We want him to come to an event with Heelys and just blow everyone's mind.
Absolute legend, Cross. Thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of the day off. Hope you get back on the golf course
Yeah,
today.
sick. Thank you,
See ya.
guys.
Coming up next, the WSL post show. 4 big heats in the round of 16 to set up the quarterfinals. And to break it all down with you, Ronnie Blakey, Richie Lovett, and the Wax Head. We'll see you there.
This is the WSL post show. A lot to talk about as the top side of the draw, the bracket, has been locked in with the great quarterfinal matchups. Fantastic stuff, but we've just seen the wild card continue his mad tear. Your mate George Patar, Richie, love it.
Georgie,
he's on fire.
Yeah, no, the Manly local from North Stain is just on a tear. You can see surfing just pressure-free at the moment, coming in as a wild card and taking full advantage of these opportunities. But it's obvious. This guy deserves to be on the championship tour. He's got a bit of work to do, but he'll get there.
He'll be on the Challenger Series. But Matt Janoski, the rail work, sublime, and getting himself into the excellent range in a championship tour event, impressive.
Truly world-class surfing. If there was any apprehension leading into that heat, I saw a bit of a stoic face. It was completely carved away. That was a really consummate professional performance that he put on there, and we're not surprised about what this guy is putting out to show.
Yeah. Big heats for surfers below the cut line as well. But on paper, a really interesting one today. We knew it was going to be emotional, was the battle between the Puppo brothers.
Oh, that one was hectic, man. That was such an emotional roller coaster. It brought me to tears. You know, someone was always going to be relegated back to the Challenger Series, and unfortunately for bigger brother Miguel, it was him who's going to have to go and do some work.
Yeah, I think the emotion really came out in the post-heat interview with Samuel, but prior to the heat, these guys gave each other some space. They don't have that intense sibling rivalry, but they certainly went all out in this heat.
Yeah, and credit to Sammy. He hasn't surfed since that foot injury that he had last heat, where we saw him stepping over the reef. You know, a 5 for the 5 for the opening ride and a 5 for Miguel. It was a nice exchange to start things off.
Yeah, you can see the backhand surfing here of Miguel Puppo. It was on point, nice and smooth, but there was a radical power edge to Sammy's waves here, and then he snuck this one onto priority from Big Brother and took full advantage of it, showing a lot of variety. The first carve, watch this second one here, holds that rail line, accelerates through it straight up into the quick snap and finishes strong. So showed all the judges' moves, all the things that the judges wanted to see there, and then here the emotion starts to pour out of young Samuel, just giving full props, all the respect to his older brother, just saying that he wouldn't even be in this position without Miguel.
Yeah, that's right. I had the chance to catch up with Miguel after the heat, and he was pretty positive about his chances on the Challenger Series too. He wasn't sort of down in the dumps. Had a really good take on it. He said he's looking forward to getting to the Gold Coast and giving it a nudge. So yeah, that was cool to hear.
I'd back him for sure. He's got such a powerful and stylish backhand approach. If snapper turns on, he's going to be super hard to beat.
Yeah, not to mention moving back down to Narrabeen for that second stop. Predominant left-hander. It's a tricky wave to surf at this time of year. You don't know what you're going to get, so he'll be a shoe-in for that one as well.
Yeah, so Sammy's run in the contest continues, but he's going to have a very tough draw because he's going to meet up with John Florence. John Florence, part of our Boost Mobile Heat of the Day, along with Gabriel Medina, the 3-time world champion. I mean, on paper, this heat looks huge, and it definitely lived up to the hype.
Oh, clash of the titans for sure. And Gabriel just a real polished performance. Got the lead early, just zero mistakes really, and that surfing just exactly what we're used to seeing from Medina. Just pinpoint accuracy on the backhand here, really throwing these big vertical turns with lots of power, lots of flow. That one right at 12 o'clock there. That was his best scoring ride. Mid-range 7. And then John, he found a couple of gems.
Yeah, so on that square tail today, switching it up from the round tail, but it allowed him to release through his turns a lot more and getting very reactive through the end section there. And on this next wave here, you'll see this searing carve that we're so used to seeing, and he just carves that one around, and he stays with it, and he needed to finish this cleanly, and he got a nice finish, which got him that winning 7-point ride.
Yeah, and just so rare to see John in celebration mode like that, you know, especially when he's not getting into the excellent range. So, you know, you can tell how much that heat win meant to him. He spoke in the post-heat interview about just how tough an opponent Medina is and the fact that he just never takes his foot off the gas and always keeps you guessing.
John normally really reserved in those post-heat interviews. He doesn't give much, but he was engaged there. You could tell that one meant a lot to him, touching on the fact that how difficult Medina is to overcome. He's just a gnarly competitor, never makes mistakes. And John, an outpouring of emotion with the claim, which again, you never really see.
No, he definitely looked like too. He was, even though he fell a lot in that heat, he was focusing on the positives. Said his board felt good. Said he was happy with his performance and kind of felt that he was going to get a lot of opportunities with the consistency at first light there.
And first heat of the day is always tricky. We had that brisk offshore wind. We had a new swell direction, and it was something coming off the left yesterday. We'd have to say Gabby would have had that advantage, but it was an equal playing field out there. And if John didn't get the finish on that last turn, he wouldn't have got the score. So it was actually really well played from John, and nice reading of that wave to be able to find that end section.
So he'll take on Sammy Puppo in that first quarterfinal heat when we get that underway. But just winning through in that last heat of the day, super impressive, the wildcard. George Patar, he's going to be taking on Griffin Colapinto. George is with Stace.
Thanks, Ron. George, the greatest surfer to come out of North Stain since Dayan Neve. Well done, mate.
Yeah, Richie's not getting a look in. Yeah, thank you. Oh, far out. I can't even believe what's going on, really. I just feel like the waves just keep popping up, and I don't know, I'm just in the spot. I've been enjoying it, but I don't know, definitely a few mistakes in that heat falling on the end sections, but I don't know, I've just felt like I've been making sort of good decisions on the waves, and yeah, I don't know, Lob's such a good surfer. I knew if that wave came, he was going to be able to get it, but it just went my way today. I'm stoked.
Turn it up, mate. You're absolutely ripping. Tell me everything. That carve, your board, the fins. I want to know it all. You're ripping, mate.
I don't know. It doesn't even. I don't know. I must look better than it feels, but I don't know. I've just got such a magic CI quiver at the moment, like all my CI2 pros, and I'm using the Almeric glass fins, those new FCS ones, and it just feels like everything you want to do, it lets you do, and it's all credit to the board really and the waves. Like I don't know. I'm just so happy that I get the chance to sort of hit those sections with the equipment and stuff I have, so I'm stoked.
What about if I told you that there's athletes up there in the Red Bull Athlete Zone that are mimicking your body movements as the replays come up on screen?
This sounds like just not even true, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's sort of easier coming into this event with less pressure. You know, everyone's having to worry about the cut, and they've just got so much on the line, and for me, I'm paddling out there and everything's just experience for me, and I'm just really enjoying the whole experience and being here and getting to know this wave. It's actually a really fun wave when you can get on the right ones, and it just feels good to put a few heats together on this level, and I don't know, just keep the ball rolling. It's pretty crazy that I'm in a quarterfinal. I'm tripping.
The ball is rolling like cheese down that Gloucestershire hill. Well done, George, in the quarterfinals.
On your Stace. Rich, been a while since there was a championship tour winner on the men's side in a CT event. Trestles 2003.
Yeah, I think we just need to go to the stats for that one. So
I did.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
That was you, mate.
That was me.
Do you think George has got it in him, the way he's surfing at the moment, to take this contest out?
Without a doubt, I think he's got it. The scores are reflective of that. If he can clean up a few of those little final moments and get to that finish and just reduce the amount of time he falls, he is going to be really, really hard to beat.
What do you think this result would mean to the Northern Beaches, which forever dominated the tour ranks?
Of course, I was going to plug the Northern Beaches. It was once one of the most dominant powerhouse locations, with more world titles won between Manly and Palm Beach than anywhere else in the world, across the women's and the men's side. It was a place where world champions came to recluse and came to train as well. Board rider clubs are a massive influence on that Northern Beaches stretch. North Stain doing really well. George, a product of that. People like yourself, Rick, supporting that, and all the mentors that are living in the Northern Beaches. They're giving back to the community, and the fruits are in the pudding, and George is doing a fantastic job, and there's way more to come. North Narrabeen doing well, Longreef, Avalon, Newport, all the clubs going from strength to strength.
They are. So everyone's going to be watching that next quarterfinal clash for George very closely. He'll be up against the world number one. Not an easy draw. Let's have a look at the Surfline forecaster and see what's coming our way today and through the rest of the window.
Yeah, today was a bit of a surprise, actually. I think it caught us off guard a little bit when we came down. It was consistent, and it sort of built overnight. So some great waves this morning on offer. Very contestable, as the highlights will show. And then over the next couple of days, we've got this new swell starting to build into tomorrow, and then Sunday looks very, very promising when this swell peaks. You can see the beautiful colours down there, the red and purples, starting to really move towards the Margaret River region. look at the next 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, 3 to 4 foot faces. So we'll come and check it out in the morning. But then Sunday, have a look at this, 6 to 10 foot faces offshore in the morning. The wind has been trending offshore, and then as the afternoon rolls on, it tends to swing around and go a little bit onshore, but still super contestable, nice smooth faces. So we're going to have plenty of waves over the next few days.
Oh, we sure are, and we've got so many great matchups to look forward to. Kaipo, still a few heats in this round of 16 to determine our quarterfinalists, but it's shaping up beautifully.
It is. So let's get you updated. Let's take a look at the Bailey Ladders leaderboard and what's to come in this men's round of 16. When we kick off competition again, we are going to start off with a great heat. Ethan Ewing versus Seth Moniz, 2/3 of the new trilogy movie, going to be out there battling against each other when we kick off competition again. Jordy Smith up against Cowie Belly, Heat 6, round of 16. That's a rematch of the 2017 Bells Beach final. Jake Marshall, Imai Kalani DeVault. Can't wait to see what the Maui boy is going to bring out here to main break against Encinitas' Jake Marshall. And we finish off the round of 16 with a banger. Italo Ferreira coming up against local boy Jack Robinson to establish all of our quarterfinals. That's here live from the Bailey Ladders leaderboard.
Oh, good job. A lot of good matchups to look forward to there. And that former winner, Jack Robinson, down in that last heat of the round of 16. And Jack, you know, he's got the mindset of a defending champion because he missed the contest due to injury last year. And we'll see if that can get him past Italo, who's looked really sharp.
Yeah, both those boys coming on, and notice Jack, he's been lurking around this comp zone, not just up at the athletes area, but you know, he's been getting down there for a fish and a dive, and he's been kind of getting involved in this whole area around here, and he's feeling good.
Back home.
Yeah, back home, feels comfortable, hanging out with Matty Bemrose, which is always a colourful experience.
Yeah, and his family, and it's his son's first trip here, Zen, so they're loving their time here in the West. Let's get stuck into the BioGland Daily Dose. Our top 3 moments from half the round of 16 here, starting with Sammy Puppo achieving excellence despite that injury, Matt.
Yeah, that's right. It was the first surf that he's had since that injury where he stepped off in the reef in a series of searing calves, and really looking like that downtime served him well. Very composed in this performance, and it was an emotional one too, up against his brother, and there was a lot on the line for both of these surfers.
It sure was. He's super emotional for good reason at the end. He's losing his mentor off the tour, but he'll be there to cheer Miguel on the Challenger Series. Coming in at number 2, John Florence claims victory. Clutch moment for him in the dying stages of his heat with Gabriel Medina today.
Yeah, giant battle between 2 world champions, 2 former champions out here at Margaret River, and a clutch moment there right at the end of the heat. John Florence just producing the goods on that final wave to get the heat win.
And coming in at number 1, George Patar, the wild card, went out there and laid down a couple of the biggest, cleanest calves we saw all day.
Yeah, with truly nothing to lose, the wild card, they put on a clinic, and Stace Galbraith wasn't wrong. The competitors making noises as he was going into the lip, and with those searing calves and mimicking his upper body torsion throw. He's just got this unique style, and he's connected to his equipment and his body, and it's looking fantastic.
It is looking good, and yeah, he's going to have to continue to keep those performances on that level, because Griffin Colapinto has just been ice cold on his run through to this point in the contest, Rich, into the quarters again, and just looking very composed and pacing himself well through this contest.
Yeah, that was a bit of a scrappy heat that he had today as well, but he seems to be getting the wins. He's always on the best waves in the heat. George is going to have to do what he did today and some more. He needs to tidy up those little final moments on the wave, make sure he can finish them strong. There's the mental game as well for George, coming up against the number 1. It's going to be a big one if he can do this, if he can get past Griffin. Oh, mate, he could win the comp. Oh, I know, the celebration.
That'll make you so happy.
Oh, the boys at North Dane would be, well, it could go for a week or 2.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, stay tuned to worldsurfleague.com for all updates on what the call is for tomorrow. We'll leave you with some highlights from today. We're off to enjoy everything that West Oz has to offer. What do you reckon, boys?
I'm going to go for a surf, maybe.
Let's get into it. See you tomorrow.
Welcome to my private garden.
it's my own menagerie. If you're looking for a party, I own everything you see. Heavy is the head, where's the crown? They said it's my time, and I'm gonna run this scene. If you don't like the way I rule my empire, you can go ahead and you can kiss my ring. All eyes on me, yeah. When I enter the scene, quit it. All eyes on me. All hail to the king, get it? If I say so, then it is so. If I say no, you better get low. On bended knee, yeah. All hail to the king, get it? Make way for the king, yeah. All hail to the king, get it? If I say so, then it is so. If I say no, you better get low. On bended knee, yeah. All hail to the king, get it? There's only room for one hustler, sitting way up on that throne. Guess I'm showing my true colors.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.
If you don't like the way